Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. If you will recall from last episode, we burned the podcast down. Welcome to Ride Me to Hell, episode 1. No, of course, I'm kidding. It's Longtime Watcher, First Time Writer, episode 3. As always, I am your longtime writer, King Fats95. Once again, joined by my first time writers, Action Shakespeare.
Hello.
B Drops.
Hello.
And Magical Whale Gopher.
Hello.
And as I mentioned, it's the third episode of this Watch About It, Talk About It Kamen Rider podcast. That's why I'm calling it from now on. Everybody write that down. And we are tackling episodes 8, 9, and 10 of the 1971 Kamen Rider series. The Creepy Bee Woman, Monstrous Cobra Man, and the Reborn Cobra Man. Yes, that's right. We get a double dose of Cobra Man action. But as we always do, we're going to start off with our reflections on the last 3 episodes, actually 4 episodes, if you will recall, if you sat through that slog of an episode that was episode 2, which, again, if you did sit through that slog of an episode that was episode 2, thank you very much. We appreciate you. We love you very much. Thank you. Just thank you. Thank you! Yep, all right.
Sorry.
It had to happen. It had to happen eventually.
Perfect unison.
Yeah, that was our souls becoming one for a brief moment. Soul resonance.
Oh, are we drift compatible?
Yeah, I hope so.
Oh, we're gonna drive the Kamen Rider together.
Hell yeah. Anyway,
Mom said it's my turn to jump.
I don't want to get Rider kicked to now. Anyway, we are gonna actually go ahead and start this week's impressions about the previous episodes with our good friends B Drops updating us on that death count.
Wonderful, yes. So we were starting with Kamen Rider a little slightly behind after the last set of episodes, but things are on the up and up with this past set of episodes. We are coming out of... Sorry, let me do some quick brain math. So episode 4 through 7, Kamen Rider came out of it with a grand total of, drumroll please, not really, 17 kills.
Ooh,
Wow.
that's for 4 episodes? That's chunky.
Yes.
Justin knows?
Yes, episode 7 was an especially kill-heavy episode.
Yeah, that it was. Old Hongo went to work.
Yes, the showdown at the fair was just amazing. There was a lot of death there. Shocker is starting to fall behind a little bit with a grand total of 8 kills in the past 4 episodes.
That's
so now
it?
we have come to... Yeah,
Why?
that's it.
And how many did Hongo have again?
Hongo had 17.
Yeah, I was okay. I remembered that number correctly. I was like, holy crap.
Yeah, the dynamic
8?
completely shifts.
Yeah.
It's a very back and forth thing suddenly. In episode 6 and 7, Shocker actually they didn't get a single kill.
Wow, really?
Yes. So
Jokes on Shocker,
we have
they're
come
stinky.
to They're so stinky.
So
They're doing
stinky.
bad and I love it. So we've come to a grand total of sorry, quick brain math. I should have written this down before. 15, 21, 25, 25 kills for the past 4 episodes. And that leads us to the scores now being Kamen Rider with 28 kills total, Shocker with 24 kills total,
Wow.
and a grand total of 52 deaths thus far.
Okay, first of all, for 7 episodes, that's wild.
Absolutely.
Second of all,
52
like a
people
4 death lead is not insignificant.
No.
Wow. Wow.
And he took that back so quickly. Shocker had a strong lead.
A strong lead.
Especially
Hongo
with
came
killing
back.
like 12 dudes in one episode.
Wasn't
at
it
one
like
time.
15?
15
it was,
dudes. at
Something
one
like that, yeah.
Yes, Shocker killed 15 people in episode 3.
Kamen Rider was like, no.
Yeah.
I can't leave.
No,
can't
Hongo said,
have this.
feed me the rock. I'm gonna win this game if it kills me. And by me, I mean
But it will
shocker grunts.
probably-
Like
it will
so
Yeah,
many
nothing-
shocker
you
grunts.
first.
So many. And those are our scores.
Well, I guess rest in peace to any civilians who may have died in those episodes, and fuck you to all the shocker grunts that died in those episodes.
Absolutely.
It's really funny, especially with developments we've continued to see in the episodes we're about to cover. Those aren't just grunts. Those are like people. A lot of them got like brainwashed and were turned into grunts.
Yes.
That's what it's seeming like. It's a little interesting. We may have to actually start rest in peacing the shocker grunts, because they might just be like civilians that were brainwashed, which is not cool.
It's hard to say.
It's not good.
It's not great.
And I mean, I guess in a sense you could say, you know, those are the kind of people that really do suffer a tremendous amount under these kind of regimes.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, like last week, I would like to go ahead and ask again as we get into our impressions for the previous episode. Did anyone go back and rewatch episodes Brain are bad at math? What? We ended on episode 7.
4 through 7?
Was it 4 through? Yeah, it was
Yes.
4 through 7.
It was 4 through
yes.
7.
Yeah. So did anyone rewatch episodes 4 through 7?
I did not this time.
No, I did not.
Yeah, no, not this time. Sorry.
No, that's fair.
Unfortunately.
That's fair. Just, we always ask just to see. I mean, I didn't. The closest I got to was what little bit of the episode I listened to pre-uploading, and also stressing out about the episode until it got uploaded the whole time.
Yes, it has been nuts this past week for some of us.
Yeah, boy. When they say a snowball's chance in hell, apparently that is not a non-zero chance.
It's a pretty strong chance.
And not entirely metaphorical.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
And I know what you're thinking. It's not fair to call the southern United States hell. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Southlands.
The Southlands, the Badlands of the
He's
U.S.
from down under.
Macho Man, is that you?
Yeah, it was.
Get you for
Macho
5
Man,
minutes
WrestleMania.
of playtime. Oh, yeah.
That is his quote about The Undertaker during WrestleMania 9, because Macho Man was on commentary for some reason.
Why was Macho Man on commentary for WrestleMania 9? We can't.
We can't.
We'll go too far between Shakes and I. Will especially. I love Macho Man. I love you so much, Macho Man. Rest in peace. So
They're hanging from the rafters. Okay.
anyway, so episodes 4 through 7, we had Monster Saracenian, we had Mantis Man. I legitimately forgot.
I don't blame you for forgetting Mantis
We had
Man.
we had the least memorable episode, and then we had a double-decker dose of Chameleon Man. What were people's thoughts? What were people's impressions coming off of those episodes, and then in comparison to these episodes?
This is an anti-impression, but what did Mantis Man even do? What was his thing? Was he the
Mantis
nukes?
Yes, Mantis Man was the nukes guy.
How is that the least memorable episode?
Because
Like,
he is
right?
immediately usurped by Chameleon Man.
It is.
Yeah.
But come on.
It's a shame.
Like,
That's the thing, is like the Chameleon Man episodes are so freaking good that you just don't even remember what happens before them.
It's true. It's true.
the
And
real
luckily,
Kamen Rider starts
Monster
here.
Saracenian, between his beefed up visual effects and stale ass child acting, Monster Saracenian is just memorable enough.
Mm.
Or Man-Eating Saracenian, I'm sorry. I should get these titles right.
I feel like my impression is, and not to get ahead of myself, but especially with this upcoming set of episodes that we watched today, I feel like there was a little bit of, I don't know if anybody else got this impression, but I felt like there was a little bit of like growing pains with the additional budget a little bit.
Yeah, I can see that for sure, because these weren't. These episodes were not nearly as ambitious plot-wise, especially in
Yeah.
comparison to things like the Chameleon Man episodes, but like, you can tell that their visual effects budget is pretty significantly beefed up. I mean, just
Yes.
between, if I just thinking about the Bee-Woman episode, the effect on the glasses, the custom painted shocker base, the multiple new locations that we shot in.
Yes.
Yeah, you can definitely tell that these were episodes where they were kind of just like, we're gonna make these a little substance light, so that way we can focus on what the new toys that we have to play with, sort of.
I like it. I feel like they haven't quite hit their stride yet, but it's really interesting to almost feel that they're themselves going through the process, because this isn't an established series with
Right.
established conventions or anything. They're working it out from the ground up, and it's really cool
Right.
to see them expand their creativity and their effects and what they believe they're capable of pulling off with those, just in real time as their budget expands as well.
Yeah, it's as much as it is a cliche to be said before, it really is kind of watching history be made, because we are seeing them lay the groundworks for a series that is going to continue and be one of the most popular Japanese children's shows even up to 2021. They are still airing this show.
Yeah. I think it's also a case of like, because a lot of shows back then, and hell, even like up through the 80s and 90s and stuff, like many made their stuff on a weekly basis and edited it in the same week and then released their episode. I think Kamen Rider might have a little bit of a backlog, considering that the first 3 episodes were so starkly different from the rest of the series so far. But like outside of that, they clearly like are filming stuff in batches, and I think they really are like trying to just throw every sort of special effects spaghetti at the wall and see what works for them, and that's like fascinating to actively witness.
Yeah,
We've seen different kinds of depicting ways people die over the last, I don't know, 7 episodes.
Yeah, something like that,
Every
yeah.
single time they find a new weird way to do it.
and honestly, a lot of them have been really,
Potentially my favorite one.
really cool and unique. But I'd be interested, not to go into too many spoilers, but would it be the Bee Woman one? Because I personally was really wowed by that death effect.
No, it's one of the Cobra Man ones.
Okay,
I think I know exactly which one you're talking about.
well, we can definitely get into that in a bit. Gopher, did you personally have any kind of impressions going from these previous episodes and getting into these next set of episodes?
B mentioned kind of growing pains for the series so far, but a little counterpoint to that is also it's coming off the back of the Chameleon Man episodes.
Yeah.
Which is like, I think if these set of episodes, which were 8, 9, and 10, if they were before Chameleon Man, it'd be like, wow, special effects. But just, it does feel like a weird step from the Chameleon Man episodes, especially given that the Cobra Man one, like, they were fun, but they were also 2 parts.
Yeah.
And just the potential that they reached were vastly different. So I think that's also another interesting point to bring up of, how the series is growing, because it's like got some really good episodes in there, and then just like there's also just good episodes.
Yeah, I will say that is something I will say to the show's merit at this point is I don't think I've watched an episode that I thought was like bad or not memorable so far. We're
It was called Mantis Man.
Yeah,
well,
Mantis Man aside.
Well, it was okay.
Well, even Mantis Man wasn't that bad. I think it just wasn't as memorable in comparison to, some of our our other episodes. We're 10 episodes into this show. You'd figure at this point there's, something's got to give at least a little bit. But so far, I would say with the exception of Mantis Man, which I would say is only not as memorable in hindsight And then like it's one of those things where I maybe forget about Mantis Man when I'm trying to remember the show as a whole, but then as soon as I think about Mantis Man, I start remembering stuff about the Mantis Man episode specifically. So I would say, aside from Mantis Man, like all of these episodes have been pretty, if not enjoyable, which I personally have enjoyed them all, certainly memorable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would agree.
I think my biggest gripe with Mantis Man is just that I distinctly remember how hard it was to follow and how structurally like fucked up it was.
Yeah, I will.
Yes.
I mean, we certainly talked about it enough in the last episode, but yeah, Mantis Man is the one episode so far that is the most guilty of just not explaining shit.
And
Not that we don't have perpetrators in our next set.
Yeah,
although,
for sure.
We'll get to that.
Besides that one obvious point, I think for the most part, it's like the plot elements are a lot more present, which is nice to see. That they're just like, yeah, you need to hear this to understand the story.
Yeah, they've definitely
So
kind of figured out that they need to explain stuff to their audience with these next set of episodes, and I'd say they've except for the one jarring issue that we're going to get to here in a bit, I would say they did a really good job of like making sure everything was pretty clear. There wasn't ever really a point in the episode where like something, again, aside from the one point, there wasn't really ever a point where I was like, wait, how did this happen? Well, how did we get here? What's going on?
Mm-hmm.
If I might make a quick addendum to my point, when I do say growing pains regarding their I guess shifting comfort and creativity and growing into their new budget and trying to figure out what they're really trying to do, I do mean it in the kindest way possible.
Yeah.
Maybe growing pains isn't the best phrase, because I'm not trying to imply that I feel like they're struggling.
No, I
More so that I feel like they haven't really like hit their stride yet,
Right,
and
exactly.
it's really interesting to see it.
yeah,
Yeah,
you,
no, that's
Yes.
yeah, you can tell they're definitely still in the like experimentation phase. They aren't quite at the point where they are comfortable with this. They aren't at that
Yes.
point where they've been doing this for a while. You can definitely tell they are still at the point where they're kind of trying to figure out both what they can do and what they want to do, I think.
yeah, that's very
Like
fair.
the formula's still very much in the works.
Yeah.
Which is honestly something that I was a little surprised about. Like the plot follows like a pretty basic setup of just like here, introduce villain, introduce Hongo, and then like conflict and then resolve. But for like, it's definitely still, as B mentioned, it's definitely still like finding how it wants to present those beats. So even like 10 minutes in, it's just like, or 10 episodes in, it is Monster of the Week stuff, but it doesn't feel as much as it does, or as much of Monster of the Week as it really is, if that makes sense, because of how they are experimenting with these things.
And go ahead.
Yeah, okay. Specifically, I noticed that with episode 10, Cobra Man Revived, is that was, like, it hit the same basic story beats, sure, but it was structured differently. And there was a lot more downtime of, like, what is Shocker doing versus, just fight scene or go here and go there.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I appreciate that diversity, even if it's, just little stuff like that.
So this actually makes me want to look up something, because the point I was going to make is, like, it kind of makes sense to me that there would be sort of more growing pains and things like this for the show, because this was, so the only real exception is Ultraman, because the first episode of the original Ultraman was, I see the air date was July 17th of 1966, but aside from Ultraman, at least to the best of my knowledge, like, Kamen Rider was the first real kind of Monster of the Week type series. It was the first one to really be doing this sort of thing, and so it kind of makes sense to me that, they had a little, I don't even know if they had multiple years of Ultraman to go off of, or if they were still only working off of the 60s series or what. But, there wasn't like a groundwork that had already been laid, There wasn't like oh, you're trying to make this kind of show, well, here's, like there is now, where there's, 20 to 30 to 40 years of groundwork that's been laid that tells you, like, hey, here's how you would do this type of show if you were trying to do it. I feel like that groundwork was probably not laid quite as solidly back when Kamen Rider was starting. And then especially you have to consider too, right, the only other previous Monster of the Week show was Ultraman, which is very different stylistically, effects-wise, even plot-wise, compared to Kamen Rider. So, there was maybe some broad stroke stuff that they could take from Ultraman, but as far as what they were specifically trying to do, I don't think anyone had really been doing that at all up to this point. I really feel like this was kind of, and maybe I'm wrong about that, and I'm certainly not claiming to be like a historian who's done all of the research or anything, but at least to my understanding, this was really like the progenitor of Monster of the Week as a genre. So it would definitely make sense to me that they would have to kind of like figure it out as they go along, because it's not like they can say, oh, we're just going to do what this other show is doing, but we're going to tweak it in our own unique style. There were no other shows doing this at the time. They just kind of had to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Well, now that everyone has
Agreed.
made their King of the Hill agreement noise,
Yep.
we can...
Yep.
I do declare.
We cannot talk about the Dotree family on this podcast. We need to move on.
I really want to have a podcast about that later, though.
We will do it. Worry not, be. We'll
sign up for our Patreon when we get one.
First time king, long time hill.
Oh, I'm a long time hill.
I am a semi long time hill. There was a period in time where I was watching King of the Hill every night when it came on Adult Swim, but I can't say that I've actually sat and watched the whole show.
I feel like I have
call it
once
all the King of the Hills
twice.
men.
Here, we'll do a at $100 a month on our Patreon that does not exist. We'll do a retrospective of King of the Hill episodes.
And I'm
official,
just going to go
it's
ahead and
confirmed.
let you guys know now. We're going to call it what the actual title we would all agree on is, which is, of course, in loving homage, it will be called Hank of the Hill. And, of course, episodes will come out every Sunday.
And Saturday.
That's Saturday.
Be there!
Be there!
Okay.
Biggest land in hundreds of motors and clippers. Sinking. All right, we have to move on. And so we will go ahead and start with the Creepy Bee Woman. We'll go ahead and read this little blurb from the Kamen Rider Wiki because it's all we got. Strangeness Bee Woman, or the Creepy Bee Woman, whatever you want to call it, however you want to translate the Japanese, is the 8th episode of the original Kamen Rider series. It is the first episode in the Kamen Rider series to feature a female monster. It is episode 8 of the original Kamen Rider series, aired May 22nd, 1971. And so we will unfortunately be continuing to freeform the plot synopsis. There unfortunately, for Strangest Bee Woman, there isn't even a synopsis on the Kamen Rider Wiki. They got nothing. They've got that little blurb I read, and they got the cast, and they've got some notes. And that's about it, unfortunately. So we will do our best. We will try not to ramble. We will try not to make another 4-hour episode.
It'll only be 3
Fingers
hours
crossed.
this time. It'll be fine.
Fingers crossed, everybody.
Cross your fingers, everyone.
And
I'm crossing my fingers. It's doing it very quickly.
just cross your little fingers and hope.
Cross your fingers.
We just said we weren't going to.
Wait for Kamen Rider. All right.
We're not going to
Anyway.
do a 4-hour episode, we say, as we immediately go back into faffing.
We're a
Gonna,
faff machine,
maybe
really.
Open up the episode.
You know, that's
see if I can.
probably a good idea. But
It's a good idea.
I've got a reasonable memory of how it starts. It starts. No, hold on. Here's the thing I'm thinking about. The daughter's name is Sachiko.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
We never get her dad's name, do we?
I do not believe so.
I think we do.
Do we?
That's what I'm
At
wondering.
some
Because
point.
I was about to be like,
Maybe at the end.
oh, we get this character, and I was like, wait, what's his name? And then I was like, wait, did we ever get his name?
Actually, wait. Yeah, hold on. I think they just call him Sachiko's dad.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's just Sachiko's dad for the whole episode.
Well, that's his legal name, clearly.
Yeah. So anyway, we see Sachiko's dad setting the table for dinner. When Sachiko comes in, Sachiko being a young Japanese girl. I know, shocked. I expected her to be Polish too. Don't worry about it. Anyway, a young Japanese girl comes in as her father calls her for dinner, and she accidentally steps on his glasses. So, of course, he says, well, I'm just going to have to buy a new pair of glasses at the cool new glasses shop in town. He goes to said glasses shop. He buys a funky, fresh pair of new glasses, and we get our first great shot.
What do you mean, our first great shot? We've already had one.
We've already had one. Well, okay, so what do you, in your mind, what is our first great shot?
When this barefooted child just steps on glasses and breaks them in half.
To be fair, she was wearing socks, but yeah, that's fair.
Okay,
This
socks.
barefoot
You got
child
no shoes.
annihilates these glasses.
And
Why-
just is not phased. She didn't get
Wait.
cut up or anything.
No,
She didn't get cut, but also, like, I'm glad the father didn't get angry because you shouldn't be leaving your glasses on the floor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's part of the reason why he doesn't get angry is he probably saw that happen and was like,
Just like,
all right, well, that's on me.
Super my bad.
Yeah, that's
I
my
got this
fucking fault.
I got this table that's only like 3 inches off the ground. I'm not gonna put it there because I'm a dumbass. I'm gonna put it where my rambunctious child can step on them.
Rambunctious child.
And it led to his near death.
Yep.
Your actions have consequences, Sachiko's dad.
Yeah, you gotta put your fucking glasses on the table, my guy. But then we get
But then we also get this.
So Sachiko and her dad are at the glasses shop, and the clerk at the glasses shop hands him a pair of glasses and is like, here, try these on, I think you'll like them. And the dad puts them on and he's like, what do you think, Sachiko? I look pretty good, don't I? And we just zoom in on the clerk, and he makes the most evil face.
I love it.
It's wild because he's not like he goes back and takes the glasses off, but otherwise he is just looking at this dude, and the camera zooms in on this clerk looking directly at Sachiko's dad with the most evil expression possible.
Like, I understand why they did that, because they needed to, like, let you know something was up about this place before the mind control thing starts. But, like,
Just have it be a lingering shot after they leave.
Right?
yeah, I think that would have probably been a little more subtle, because this is about as subtle as a brick through a window.
Just
I'm
evil.
yeah. He might as well have had a tattoo across his forehead that said, I'm with Shocker.
Damaged.
Twisted fucking psychopath.
I'm sorry.
Hunger, we live in a society.
God. I don't know what I would do if I went to go buy some chicken nuggets and the person who hands the food through the window at the drive-thru looked at me like that, honestly.
I think
I
I'd
thought you were gonna say
stare
was
back.
just the Joker.
I
What
mean,
if you
I
went to
guess that
McDonald's
too.
and the Joker was there.
You want fries with that shake?
I do, thank you.
I want fries. I'm
gonna
gonna
be-
make some fries after this podcast.
When Joker goes
$4.99.
to Domino's, he calls the he sees the crazy bread and he
Calls
just
it
says that's
bread.
What?
Anyways, sorry.
Good, we've done it. We've successfully alienated our own podcast.
No,
The next scene.
we do need to move on. We will explain it later on for you, Gopher. But so the next scene's actually really cute. So Dad and Sachiko they're at the pond and they're feeding bread to the ducks, which is actually really bad. Don't feed breads. Don't feed bread ducks.
70s.
Really don't feed bread ducks. They don't have teeth.
It's unfortunate. It's not common knowledge, but yes, don't give bread to ducks. Don't give starches to birds in general.
not good.
Also,
Give them like peas. Give them some.
give a peas.
Honestly, I've seen some videos of some ducks eating some peas. They love it.
If you're gonna give a duck anything,
Oh yeah,
give them some money. They know what to buy.
It's true.
the
Yes.
drugs.
No.
Rain
Gopher,
rain down those bills.
Gopher, do you want Scrooge McDuck? Because this is how you get Scrooge McDuck.
You just need to find the good ducks.
I like how this process just makes it seem like they're a Pokemon, and that Scrooge McDuck is the final evolution.
You catch a Farfetch'd, you give it a money rock, you evolve it to level 25, and it turns into Scrooge McDuck.
Yeah, you got to use it on the Farfetch'd or the Eevee, and then you get your Patreon. I stole this joke.
You know what? That's fine. We appreciate it
It was
anyway.
good, though.
It was a solid joke. So we get this cute scene of Sachiko and her dad feeding ducks, and then all of a sudden, Dad starts acting strangely, and no one understands why, because we're just gonna pretend we can't see the flashing lights on the side of his glasses. Those are for the audience. We have we've got whatever that special vision is in Final Fantasy 14
Yeah,
that lets you
it's
see
Warrior
the
of
AoE
Light
cones.
Vision. It's fine.
The
I was
Yeah, we've got the echo.
I was just about to make that joke.
I'm same brain.
Can you tell what
Oh,
we've been
headache.
playing a lot lately?
Hint: it wasn't World of Warcraft.
It was City of Heroes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Come join our City of Heroes
Guild.
guild. What does City of Heroes have?
Super group.
We
Come
are
join our City
faffing
of
like
Heroes
an
supergroup.
extra amount today, despite our promises not to. I feel like we should promise we will faff, and maybe we'll stay
Yeah,
on
maybe.
topic.
No,
Maybe we are the
Contrarian
opposite day
brains.
podcast.
Welcome to the Opposite Day podcast. I've seen all of Kamen Rider ever. Please come with me or all your questions.
I'm not Action Shakespeare.
I've never commented a writer.
I love wasps.
and ducks and geese.
Yes.
All birds, really. Anyway,
I am a normal human.
And while you're at it, eat sediments.
eat sand, everybody. we have to stop.
Okay, moving on with this
So
scene.
Dad starts acting strangely because of the fact that his glasses are glowing, except that only we can see it. So instead of going to the police, because that would be a sensible thing to do, the child asks some stranger who is sleeping on the hill for assistance. But who's that stranger?
is
Why,
this
it's no
man?
one other than Takeshi Hongo, who is just
Cold chillin'.
cold chilling,
Book over his face, sleeping on a hill.
having a normal one. Absolutely.
Yeah, the most carefree lad in the world. Takeshi
Cyborg
Hongo,
freak Takashi
cyborg
Hongo.
freak.
Yeah. having a normal one. So she goes
Long though.
she goes to ask Hongo for assistance, and Hongo attempts to stop the dad but is unable to.
He's rebuffed.
I'm gonna opt for unwilling to, because we know damn well that he's able. He annihilated
Yes.
a child's hand. He could stop a dude.
It's not like he loses like all of his additional cyborg strength if he's not transformed, so he just didn't.
Yeah, he super just didn't stop this guy from walking away.
From his
I guess
child.
he cared more about Sachiko.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense for Hongo. So
Friend to children.
Yeah.
Takeshi Hongo.
Well,
yeah.
unless there's a dog.
Unless there's a
That-
dog.
yes.
Well, hey, look, that's.
Priorities.
I mean, that's just real life, isn't it? I am also a friend
Yeah.
to children unless there's a dog. Anyway, Hongo goes to take care of Sachiko, and we watch as the father walks away. We do not watch the whole scene, obviously, but we see him go to... Is there an establishing shot that lets us know that this is like an abandoned construction site? I don't recall.
Not really.
Yeah, okay, I didn't think so. I didn't think we had gotten one of those this early. So he goes to a place. We don't know where that place is. Where he sees the person who had beckoned him to come through his glasses, the mysterious bee woman. She has called him to this base because Shocker needs his help. Insert image of Uncle Sam poster, but Shocker.
God. The fascist eagle statue.
Hitler wants you.
Oh,
So yes, we see that is the mysterious bee woman who has hypnotized and called this dad to this location, and I believe that is when we cut to Hongo. Yes, this is when we cut to Hongo taking the child to Snack Amigo, correct?
3 days later.
Oh, fuck, that's right. No.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wait.
No,
yes,
it is. I just
yeah.
checked. It's 3
Presumably
days later.
they've been there for 3 days, but yeah.
Yeah, so three days have passed. Dad has not come home, and people are still, I guess, well, wait. No, that makes sense. Everyone is just kind of watching this kid because she doesn't have a mom either. Because,
Yeah, she is another orphan
Yeah.
child.
yeah, I mean, children with two parents, preposterous. Couldn't be me.
Not here.
Not me. Anyway, so Hongo decides that he's going to try and investigate the glasses shop where Dad got... Do we... Hold on, wait. I want to clarify with Shakes real quick since they have the episode up. Is this the point where we decide Hongo is going to check the glasses? Yes, this is the point. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so this is the point where Ruriko makes half a plan.
Yes.
And then Honko and Ruriko go 2 separate directions and don't do each other's plan whatsoever.
So I do want to go ahead and stop and comment on first that so Hongo decides he's going to investigate the glasses shop because it is also mentioned that not only has 3 days passed, but 42 other people have disappeared.
And they all have a single, a very specific thing linking them all together.
Which is that they have all bought glasses at the same glasses shop.
Something the police apparently never investigated.
And also, neither does Hongo, is my thing. Like,
600 IQ,
at this
everyone.
point, Takeshi is assuming that this is a Shocker thing, but he didn't decide to investigate until after 43 disappearances. Like,
And I would
come
also
on,
like to add-
dude.
They explicitly say that this has happened over the course of 2 months.
2 months.
This isn't like a really popular store at the mall getting, 50 people traffic in one day. That's not wild. But it's been 2 months.
Yeah, like...
And they haven't done anything.
Like, we're talking about the same Takeshi Hongo that heard the sound of a body being dragged and was like, that's Shocker, baby. And 42 people were kidnapped over the course of 2 months, and he was just like, not me.
This is
I
the
can
same
only-
problem he had with the plant man.
Yeah, the Saracenian
That got
as
out
well.
of hand before they realized it too.
I'm going to assume they were just late to some intel, or only certain facts have only become recently available to
yeah.
them. Like, they've been working on it and they only found out about the shop recently.
I mean, I guess that's
Or-
fair because it's not really like it's kind of established in this set of episodes that Hongo's like the way he finds out about Shocker plans is either someone goes and talks to him or he reads something in the newspaper and is like, "Oh, that's got to be Shocker."
He's really dedicated his life to, like, fighting Shocker, but he just doesn't try.
Yeah.
Like,
It all comes to him anyway, so I could sort of understand with his big juicy brain that he'd realize he doesn't actually need to waste any energy going after all of these
He
tips.
could waste a little bit of energy though. Like,
Is
Hongo,
it a
42 is a
waste?
lot of people, and you
We
did...
never see those 42 people again.
Exactly, I was gonna
Those
say,
are
we
probably
definitely
the
don't watch
moves.
him rescue 42 people.
I think we see like a fourth of them.
Yeah. So a lot of people, like, for sure died.
Or turned into shocker mooks.
Yeah, shocker
I guess,
combatants.
is what happened. I don't know.
Yeah, they got added to the play set.
Many, many terrible things have happened to these people.
Yeah, really, just... I mean, especially this episode has some shit vis-a-vis civilian killing that we are going to get to.
Visuals were especially very explicit. Oh boy. Ooh.
Before we
But
go down that
first-
dark path,
Yeah, so we have to talk about Rurikyo's half a plan. Because Rurikyo's half a plan is, I wanted glasses anyway, so I'm gonna go get glasses from that new glasses shop and see what happens, I guess.
Yeah, and see what's up. So, in this situation, where the glasses shop is our only lead, one would think that Ruriko would go do her glasses shopping, and maybe, I don't know, someone would be like in the wings or something to see if something happens.
Nope.
Nah.
No. Too smart for Ruriko.
No,
That'd
that's
be
too
almost
smart.
a full
It's
plan.
too smart for Hongo too, because he just seems to fuck off and do puppy science.
Well,
yeah,
to be fair,
puppy science.
I am willing to give him the benefit of the doubt vis-a-vis puppy science. Because his whole bit with the puppy science is like, alright, normal mammals can only hear this range of sounds. But dogs can hear this range of sounds. But my cyborg ears can hear this other range of sounds. And that ends up becoming plot relevant to this episode. So I am willing to give Hongo a pass because he wasn't just like fucking off doing puppy science for no reason. He was trying to test the limits of his abilities. He was in there on that Itachi Uchiha tip.
God.
Thankfully not literally.
Yeah, thankfully not literally.
For the puppy.
Yeah, really. Would hate to see that dog turn into a little Kamen Rider Sasuke. Why, Takeshi? Why?
Ah, my blood vessels. Anyway,
We're gonna give
mentioned
Bean
the forbidden
ulcer. We
word.
can't keep
Like
talking
this.
about this.
I know you had a very good point about the relevancy of the puppy research, and that it does have a very valid place in this episode. Though my main takeaway from it, as I reference my notes, is the word dog in all caps with 3 exclamation
Yes.
points.
Yes.
Yeah, pretty much.
But it's the same. My headcanon is it's the same dog as he picked up in episode 7.
Oh, same.
Oh, it super
He
is.
just adopted
He
both
adopted
of
those
them?
dogs. Hell yeah, he
it
did.
really looks like the
It-
same
It
dog.
really
Okay,
does.
It does, honestly.
No joke, I think it is legitimately the same dog.
Because
Because I'm
like,
pretty sure that dog shows up in the Reborn Cobra Man episode as well as the brown puppy.
where,
Like, I think that was
like,
just
going to
the
check.
puppies of someone on set.
like when you think of it, these. I tried to look up budgets last recording and I couldn't find any, but these budgets can't be too big.
Right.
They have to have a limited set of puppies.
Yeah. They can't have unlimited dog works.
So like, this is clearly one good doggo.
Oh, such a good dog.
I love this fucking sequence too. He's just got this dog strapped to some kind of machine. It's not even like the dog's ears are hooked up
Nope.
or anything. It's
It's
just a
just-
dog with a little strap
It's,
around
it's
him.
like he's
There's some
checking the
meter.
dog's blood pressure.
Yeah.
And that puppy is so
Scanning him for
content. He's such a
electrical
good boy.
signals. Oh,
Love that little guy.
I'm just at the scene again. It just looks like felt and like some sewing needles that put wires in.
Yep.
They just put it around a dog.
It's a machine.
It's our science machine.
Look at these readings.
So good. Oh
What
my
do the
goodness.
numbers mean? Science. Science.
Science.
So while Takeshi Hongo is being blinded with science, he gets a recall from his cool friend Rukio and her hip new glasses that she got from the cool new shop and then put on. I feel like I shouldn't need to explain the rest of the plot, but let's go for it anyway, I guess.
You'll never guess what happens.
Yeah.
You'll never guess what happens next, Doruriko.
Our cool friend Ruriko put on some new glasses from a wild new shop. What happens next will leave you amazed.
It probably won't.
So Ruriko gets hypnotized. Oh, I appreciate specifically that the timing of this is that she gets hypnotized immediately after Takeshi Hongo says not to put the glasses on, but also immediately after it is implied by Rurikyo's comments on the phone that she is already wearing the glasses.
She calls him up wearing these glasses, and like, I got these sweet new glasses, and she's like checking herself out in the mirror.
And he's like, don't put
It's
the glasses
amazing.
on, and she's like hypnotized.
Whoops. Doruriko, don't.
So like the hypnotized subjects, the thing is like it mostly seems to be grabbing their body, and their mind is like fighting to get out of it, because Sachiko's dad tells Hongo at the beginning of the episode, like, the glasses!
Yeah.
And Hongo's just like, huh? And just lets him walk away and just sees if the kid's okay. And
Because-
then Ruriko's like, help, into the phone as she's dragged away by her glasses. And he's on the phone still for like a minute, just going, Ruriko, hello? Ruriko, hello?
Like, I have to assume, because it shows the phone dangling next to Ruriko on the like little end table that it's on. So I have to assume what they were trying to imply is that maybe he couldn't quite hear her, which makes no sense because she's screaming.
Yeah.
Them old 70s phones, though. I don't know.
Yeah, those
Like
receivers.
she's like crumpled next to the phone that is hanging next to her.
Mm-hmm.
You'd think something would get through.
I can't help but wonder, like, because I also thought it was strange that Sachiko's father had said, "Oh, the glasses," and Hongo was just like a little bewildered. And a part of me couldn't help but think, to make this make sense in my mind, is Takeshi Hongo's brain so juicy that he doesn't trust that people know what's happening to them until he can confirm it for himself?
I could kind of see Hongo being that guy. The kind who's like, well,
You
did you
don't
do the
know.
research? Well, then I don't know how you would know.
Did you try
Are
turning
you
it
sure
back
it's
on
the
and off again?
glasses?
It's like off Hongo. Why don't you turn your ass on and off again, you cyborg bitch?
Hongo cannot turn that off. Are you kidding?
Yeah, it's always on.
Double cheeked up Thursday afternoon.
Back up generators on that cake. You cannot.
Hella ass. The sun's still out. What are you doing?
We can see it in those other pants, though. Anyway.
I have a cat.
I'm gonna drink my apple juice and shut the hell up while we proceed with the plot.
Yeah.
Just Bringing
That's-
things back down to earth. I have a cat on my lap, and she is purring.
Oh, jealous.
Oh, everybody listening to the podcast, say hello to Gopher's cat and keep them in your
Hey,
heart.
seriously, I'm gonna
Trying to get her
check
to say hello. But
when I upload this episode. If I don't see comments saying hello to Gopher's cat, it's gonna be bad.
Please say hello to Gopher's
Say
cat.
hello to Gopher's cat or else.
No, it's-
Hellfire rained upon you. Hello, Gopher's cat. I'm gonna say
Hello,
it first.
Gopher's
Hello,
cat.
Gopher's cat.
This definitely won't be cut
Hello.
out.
It won't
It
be.
better not be. Anyway, back to stuff that's relevant to the podcast that we're doing. You know the one. You've heard the name of it. Anyway, Rurikyo gets sent on to the Shocker abandoned construction site, where the bee woman beckons her into the Shocker room, and I believe Hongo follows her. That sounds about right. Yes.
So she gets beckoned into the base. And Hongo tails the dude at the glasses shop. The step that he pretty much should have done from the beginning.
Yes, that's right. He stakes out the glasses shop, waits for the creepy old proprietor to leave, and then tails him. Because, of course, where else would the creepy old proprietor go but to the Shocker base?
Yeah.
Not like he's, hiding out, trying to pretend to be a civilian or anything. Wouldn't go to his house.
Sure enough, he just goes straight to the Shocker base. So, hey, Takeshi Hongo's got the 600 IQ.
Uh-huh.
I can't argue.
Hongo 1, me 0, I guess. So
Even-
Oh, go ahead, Gopher.
Even if you think Hongo is doing something wrong, just know that it's you who are wrong. Hongo's always right.
Hongo's always right.
It's true.
Look, you don't even need to look into his eyes. Look into that hair. That's how you know. Takeshi Hongo is always
Lose yourself. Lose yourself in that raven abyss. The great expanse of his voluminous hair.
right. I feel it. I feel the power of the cosmos.
I'm sorry.
We're talking about this so we don't have to talk about the next part.
Yeah, a little bit. Well, hey,
Oh,
wait. There's
God, next part.
Yeah,
there's one cool
it's a
part we
little
can
rough.
talk about.
Because
Yeah.
we sure get some imagery.
Yeah, we get some hella imagery.
Yeah, we really, yeah.
Oh God, yeah, we get hella imagery before we get the even remotely cool part. All right, let's just get into it.
Yeah, let's get it over with.
So we've got a group of people who have been kidnapped. They are in... I mean, they aren't jumpsuits, but they're basically prison clothes.
Gray pajamas.
Yeah,
pretty much.
gray pajamas with big ol' necklaces on that are triangular in shape, that have the person's gender and name and I think like a number on them. And the bee woman and some shocker combatants round up these group of people, all of whom are still wearing their glasses. And they put them into a room and they say, because you have failed to successfully assist us in producing gas at our gas factory, and you are unable to become good shocker combatants, you are going to be killed. Because boy, does shocker love killing people. So after one of the civilians is roughhoused a bit by some shocker grunts, all of the shocker people exit the room. They close the door to the room, and then they begin to stream in a pink gas that is meant to murder the kidnapped civilians. Now,
Who doggy?
There's no real delicate way to go about this. It's a rough scene that is very clearly aiming to draw parallels to other very specific imagery.
I mean, they are apparently the purposes of episodes 6, 7, and 8 of the original Kamen Rider series is to really, really drive home the fact that our antagonists are Nazis. Because
Down to the tactics.
this is gratuitous.
It's a little much.
Like,
I still can't get over the fact this is supposed to be a kids show.
Yep.
Yes, it is. Honestly, like you could say it is bordering beyond what is, sensitive to these events.
Yeah.
But it's also just a very graphic thing, largely because this is like a real actual thing that is done, and not necessarily like big comedy laser ray or like tying the damsel onto the railroad tracks kind of stuff.
and again,
Bubbling pit of lava.
let's not forget that this was 1971, so World War II was not that long ago.
Not even 30 years.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the people who grew up around that climate had children watching this show, probably.
It's something.
It's something, and I personally don't know if I can really add anything to that.
You know
but
what? I can add this. We will eventually get a nice palate cleanse in the form of Takeshi Hongo murdering a lot of Nazis.
Oh
So
yeah.
look forward to
You
that.
sure do. The good news to this scene, spoilers, is that nobody in that gas chamber dies.
Yes, it is
Thank
the world's
God,
most
yes.
ineffectual
Takeshi
gas
Hongo
chamber.
saves the day, which is a great thing to see.
I
love when my superheroes actually save people.
Yeah, do love that. I will say it is a little amazing that he could save the day, because he does leave those people in that gas chamber for a while.
It's not a clean recovery. Yeah, it's because he gets there. He was like, I'm about to save them, and then he gets stopped.
Yes. So very quickly, I do just want to touch on, as we had mentioned about the increased budget, this is the first time. I'll say it's the first time, because we've seen shocker bases before, and aside from like a symbol or two to designate the monster that base is supposed to belong to, or maybe some lighting effects, the bases have looked largely the same. This is the first time we are actually getting a custom painted shocker base. So this shocker base actually is painted in such a way as to be reminiscent to a beehive. Our shocker combatants have yellow and black face paint on, as to designate that these are the bee woman shocker combatants. And I thought it was a neat little touch. I think there's there's some bee iconography on certain parts of the walls as well.
Yes.
There's
hexagons and such.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that just like, it is supposed to be that at a glance you can tell, oh, this is the bee woman shocker base. And I personally think that is cool from like a set design standpoint. It's nice that they were able to do that, especially because all these shocker bases are still pretty simple as far as sets go. There's not a lot going on to them. They're not very big. But, the more that they can do to make them unique, and the more that they can do to kind of differentiate from each other and help add a little more personality to the monster of the week, the better, I think. Personally, at least.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I agree.
So we get the Royal Hive themed shocker base.
It is not.
Wait,
it is
no, I'm
disroyal.
not affiliated.
This bee is not affiliated with Nazis.
I'm sorry. We get the fascist hive themed shocker base, and then
Those are the wasps.
Takeshi Hongo shows up, and he's gonna go try and save the people when he is stopped, because I guess A, they knew he was coming, and B, they knew he knew Rurukyo. So they are holding Rurukyo hostage, and they're like, we're gonna murder her if you like try to save people, but if you let us give you an injection, we'll let her go. What I find funny about this scene is that the bee woman offers him this ultimatum, and then goes on to very explicitly say, oh, by the way, we're not going to kill you with this injection. We're not going to poison you, but we're going to paralyze you. So that way we can go do that brain surgery on you we were talking about earlier. So that way we can turn you into a proper shocker gun, which I don't know why you would, like, you would want to bury the lead in a situation like that, wouldn't you?
Maybe. I think it was extra funny because, yeah, I don't think she knew Hongo was. I don't know if she knows Hongo is the Kamen Rider, because I feel like they phrased it that's in a complete cyborg surgery. It was just like, do they know? Do they know? The dude's a cyborg already. What are they gonna do?
Oh, well, I think the bee woman. I imagine the bee woman knew that Hongo was the Kamen Rider.
I know future guys do the thing, but the bee woman says complete cyborg surgery.
Does she say complete cyborg surgery?
Yeah.
I thought she said.
Yes.
Oh wow! So maybe she didn't know. Maybe she just knew Takeshi Hongo was like a guy they were interested in, and she was like, "Oh, I'm about to earn so many brownie points."
I did not get the memo. Oops.
Oops.
Look, this guy is so handsome. This guy is. I can see his big juicy brain from here with my enormous bee eyes.
You see,
He's perfect.
As a bee, I am aware of the fact that the size of a man's brain is proportional to the size of his ass, and goddamn. Oh boy, I heard Keiki Supreme, so I can only imagine. That's a 600 IQ ass right there.
300 for cut me up 150 IQ from that. No, I have. Okay. I'm so sorry.
You do not have to apologize. This is a place where you can feel free and liberated, B. To be your true self.
my true self is repenting currently.
Yeah.
My true self wants to seek out God.
Well,
So,
Bringing new meaning to the phrase bees has become Catholic.
I've never stand J-Man, personally.
Well, so there it is. Rip J-Man, but you'll never be as popular as Takeshi Hongo in Bee's eyes.
So speaking
It's
of
true.
Takeshi Hongo's 600 IQ ass,
Yes, what? We never saw any confirmation about what he does next.
Shakes, please clarify for us since you have the episode open, because I swear to God, he pulls something out of his pocket.
he does.
no, he does.
He does.
There's
I
no
went back to check as well.
clarification on what is going on here.
Of course not.
But he does. So he gets injected, and as he is succumbing to the poison, he pulls a small blue vial out of his pocket, I guess.
Guess.
That's what
It's
that-
like a
let me
vial
see.
or a tiny syringe or something. It's
something.
got like I cannot make out what it is
Yeah,
on the
it's-
end, but it is blue and there's some metal part on the end, and I can't tell if it's meant to be a syringe just because the lighting is not the best
Yeah,
here, but he
it's shaded.
crushes it in his hand, and there's clearly blood coming out. So
Not red
whatever
paint.
he has done, it is definitely not red paint,
Yeah.
no. So whatever he's done, he is either simply broken this vial in his hand in order to inflict pain upon himself to try to sustain his consciousness, or there is something special in that vial that is meant to combat whatever he's been injected with. I presume the latter.
Could be both.
Yeah, because he just sort of seems to escape pretty alright.
Yeah.
So
Because
I
I
guess
assume
can
he
only
woke up
assume-
before he was supposed to, is my
Yeah.
thought.
That's what one
Yeah.
would assume. Here's my question. How did he know?
Maybe
This is-
because of his big juicy brain
That's what
and
we're
the fact that he knew that he probably can ascertain that he is a valuable asset to Shocker, and if possible they would like to reclaim him again because they've stated so since the first episode. So maybe he's tried to make contingencies for capture should they ever actually get close to doing that to him.
So here's the thing. I will certainly give you that he was expecting them to try and find a way to kidnap him again so they could turn him, they could finish his whole shit. My thing is, how did he know how to make a serum that would counteract that specific poison that they have never used on him before?
What part of 600 IQ biochemist do you not understand?
The part where he can see the goddamn future. He's got 600
I guess when
IQ, not the fucking Monado. Like,
I don't know. What if that's what happens when you get 600
see the
IQ?
future
What
when
if you unlock the Mangekyo Sharingan and
My
just
third eyes
can
open.
see the universe? Don't come at me, Naruto fans. I know that's not what it does.
shut up. Nobody cares what it does in Naruto.
Go home.
I'm sorry. I didn't actually mean to tell you to
I
shut
did.
up. I'm sorry.
I
Don't worry.
do.
Yeah, B will never be mean to anyone. That's why I'm on this podcast. I'll be mean to everyone. I don't give a shit.
What? Oh no.
I'll alienate our whole fucking audience. Bring it on.
No,
Try
we
and
love
stop
you.
me. Pick us up for podcast programs.
Yeah, fucking hit us up, Maximum Fun. We have no audience. One of our hosts
That's
is
not
a
a great way to
dickhead.
sell us at all.
Anyway, so Takeshi Hongo, I hesitate to say injects because he really does just kind of crush it into his hand so hard that he starts bleeding a lot. It's
Very bright.
yeah, very bright, just like a ton of red paint blood. But yeah, so he activates the serum, and he I really appreciate the scene of him waking up sooner than he's supposed to, because they've got him in a chair. He's all tied up, right? He's passed out. He comes to. He realizes what's going on. He breaks out of two. He's got 3 chains wrapping around him, tying him to a chair. He breaks out of 2 sets of them. Hears someone is coming downstairs, and then just pretends to be passed out again. And apparently this guy didn't realize that 2 sets of chains were missing. So he just walks up to Hongo, assuming that he's still out, And
I
Hongo,
think he realizes it at the very last second because he goes, huh?
yeah,
And then Hongo
and
just
bam. Hongo busts out and busts a move on this dude.
Yes, he didn't even look like he was actually going to, like, inspect Hongo. He looked like he was just passing by until he looks down and notices the chain's gone. He's like, and then just immediately bodied.
Yep.
Bodied, taken hostage, immediately tells everything
Yeah, he
Hongo wants
squeals
to know because
immediately.
that's what all Shocker Goons do.
Yeah, really. I've never met a Shocker Goon that wasn't a narc.
But I mean, if you saw Takeshi Hongo and what he does, would you not
especially
immediately
to other
narc?
Shocker
Well, I might
grunts.
not immediately narc, but I'm a freak anyway.
What?
All right.
What?
Let's expose ourselves fully. Moving on.
Anyhow,
That was a legitimate what, because I was like tuned out for half a second and okay.
Listen, your enemies. Do you not want to go out in glorious combat?
yeah, I mean, honestly, if I had to,
If I'm a mook, no.
if I had my choice of how I wanted to die, I definitely would be getting rider kicked. Yeah, no, I want a rider chop. I want him to
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah, do
break
you-
me
I want
apart.
a rider throw.
Ooh, yeah.
Do you want to die via shocker law because you are a rat narc? Or do you want the noble and amazing Juicy Brain Takeshi
Himbo
Hongo
Supreme.
to just punch your guts out of your back?
Punch my guts out somewhere.
Oh my.
Wait, I'm gonna do that. Wait. No. I just want to punch you in the torso. I sincerely did not mean anything by that.
Moving on.
Anyways, so after the guy narcs, he narcs about the people being gassed, and Takeshi Hongo saves them, but before any of them die, and that's
It's
great.
very good.
Yeah.
And also, like, damn, Shocker, how's your gas production? Pretty bad, it seems like.
Yeah, they clearly are working on it.
Yeah, because those people had to be in there for like an hour at least, and not a single casualty.
Maybe he only passed out for like a minute because of his cool.
Oh
blue
yeah,
vibe.
maybe it was only like 45 seconds.
Just enough time to wrap him in some chains, and then he just wakes up immediately and breaks out.
Well, I feel like it has to be some amount of time because the Shocker base is seemingly empty. Like, what did they capture Takeshi Hongo and then everyone went for coffee?
Maybe.
I would.
Fair. It's fucking
Drinks on me.
pizza party in the break room. We got Hongo.
God, I want
Hell yeah.
pizza.
Some donuts.
Anyway.
So Hongo rescues all of the people. He gets Sachiko's father, who is again at this point still unnamed, and brings
very
Sachiko's
dazed.
father back to Sachiko, only to find that old Mr. Tosan here, he's got memory loss.
Even though it presents itself as like catatonia,
Yeah, really.
He's just like.
I was
Yeah.
just about to
like
say
a
I
zombie.
don't understand how Takeshi Hongo immediately knows that he's lost his memory, because it'd be one thing if Sachiko came up to him and she was like, Dad, where were you, huh? And he was like, I'm sorry, I don't know you. I'm not a dad. What's going on here? But he doesn't say anything at all.
he doesn't look at anything. He doesn't move. I'm
Yeah,
not even
he's-
sure if he blinks.
Yeah, seriously, he's just
got
like
the 1,000-yard stare.
Yeah, 1,000-yard stare off into the middle distance, and Takeshi Hongo's like, he's got amnesia. Like, are you sure? I think he's in a coma, my guy.
Also, real quick, in the escape of the Shocker base, we have two very distinct moments. Takeshi Hongo is met with the Shocker goons as he's trying to get Sachiko's dad. He fights him off, and then takes one of their knives and just hucks it into the bee woman's stomach
Yes.
from across the room.
Yes.
Just wow. Doesn't kill her. He just Arnold Schwarzenegger in Predator openings her. Stick around. just hits her with that shit. And then she as she recoils, hits a button to give him the old drop Kamen Rider in a pit trick again.
Yes.
To which he only just uses it to transform and instantly jump out of the hole and escape.
It's great because we get the return of the 2D transformation sequence.
Yes.
Where they use just like the still frames that they like took by picture and cut out of Takeshi Hongo attempting to do a tumble, and then standing back upright as he turns into Kamen Rider. And it was dope the first time, and it's dope this time.
It will never not be dope.
Fucking love that effect. So yeah,
so it just goes terribly for the bees.
It's we you're really losing on this episode, B, and we apologize. We'll get you a dub later.
Listen, I sincerely don't mind if you kill all the fascist bees. Normally, I don't condone killing bees, but I do condone, the destruction of fascism.
That's fair.
So
it's fine. We're gonna get you some dubs in 6 years when we finally get to Kamen Rider Kabuto and we get to interact with Kamen Rider Zabi.
Yeah.
oh yes,
Zubby.
Zabi. Oh, was the other thing Shakes wanted to mention the voice?
Oh yeah, no. My two things were those fight sequences. But yes.
Okay, please bring up
Okay,
the voice.
Escaping with
we didn't-
Ruriko.
Yes, so for the first time, apparently, because I don't think this was a mistake, but for the first time, I believe we heard Kamen Rider speak as, transformed Kamen Rider, not as Takeshi Hongo.
That's right.
And it has a reverb effect.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
This is definitely not the first time because he has
He
talked
talks
to enemies
all the time.
I
Yeah.
didn't think it was the first time, but I was like, is this... I don't know if I was
This is
misremembering or
literally
something.
the first
but...
time we ever see this effect, and it's also because it's the first time we ever see Kamen Rider talk to Ruriko. And for
Yeah.
whatever reason, Takeshi Hongo is still trying to hide his identity as the Kamen Rider from Ruriko because he doesn't want her to know that he's a cyborg freak. And so
Despite her being involved in shocker nonsense
constantly,
all the time now.
and like always knowing that Takeshi is who you call when shocker shit happens, I don't know how a normal person doesn't piece 2 and 2 together. But here we are.
Ruriko is not
Yeah, he
normal. Okay.
He just goes
Genetic
to the
freak.
bathroom, washes the blood off of his hands, and watches his wound regenerate. And
Oh,
says,
that's what that was,
I can't
wasn't
let
it?
Ruriko know I have cyborg modifications. Not until I return back to normal.
And a quick clarification: it's not that he had, or the Sachiko's father had amnesia. They specifically, or they directly specify his memory has been erased.
Yes, of course. I'm
Which
sorry.
is-
How could I?
Even more wild.
So okay, that lends a little more
But
credence.
don't worry, he should return to normal soon enough.
That lends a little more credence to my theory then, because one thing I did notice, and let me know if you guys noticed this too. But when I watched the episode and I saw the father at the home, I was like, huh. It kind of looks like as if he had been wearing the shocker face paint and then they kind of washed it off of him, but they didn't wash it all the way off. You know what I mean? Like there were lines and some like
he
slight
does
yellow
look like
fading.
it.
So I was wondering if maybe this gas, it wasn't supposed to be like kill you gas, which is what it's advertised as, but like shocker transformation gas, which is
Figuratively kills you.
it is confusing if that is the case because they explicitly state that group of people are not strong enough to become shocker agents, I thought.
I think they simply said that they were the weakest of the lot of the people they had, and they weren't strong enough to manufacture gas at the rate at which they were wanted to.
Shakes, maybe you can clarify for us, but I could have sworn there was a line about them not being like sturdy enough to become shocker combatants.
That is basically how I remember it, but gotta scroll.
Gotta
Gotta scrub back, so I don't know.
Okay, well, we'll get back to that.
It's not super important.
So, I feel like, is there anything else besides this other than the other fight scene?
So we get a cutaway back to the fortress as
Yes.
the woman does the girl boss thing
Mm-hmm.
and kills a minion for his kills the dude who narked.
Yeah.
Basically.
Because of shocker
To
law.
which we get a brand new kill effect.
Yes.
Yeah.
The patented bee woman kill effect, and a personal favorite of mine.
It is a good
To
one.
describe this effect, I would say it is like if they made a specifically like faceless, not headless, but faceless mold of the shocker combatants out of like marshmallow and then took a blowtorch to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, more or less.
Like they just get
Yes.
melted down, and it's
Or
With a little
or
bit of
some kind
plastic in there.
figure. Yeah, I was gonna say it's a plastic figure under a magnifying glass
Yeah.
would also be very valid. Just a melting man.
yeah, dude just melts, and it's a great effect. Again, Kamen Rider giving us the best kill effects that you can buy with however much their budget
1971
is.
money.
Yeah, 1971 money. So yeah, B Woman does the girl boss shit, and then it's fight time again, I believe.
I think after that it cuts to to the cafe, right?
That
Yes.
sounds
Okay.
right, but I can't think of what they'd be doing in
Yeah.
there.
Well, this is where Takeshi just melts a bee, like an actual bee this time.
Oh, right.
Oh, that felt bad.
Yeah.
So yes, Takeshi and
Takeshi's
Tachibana
first
are hanging
betrayal.
out, and Rukio goes to serve them some coffee, and I think she hands Hongo his coffee first, and then as she's about to hand Tachibana his coffee, Hongo just like freaks out and knocks the drops the coffee. No. Yeah, it is Tachibana who gets served first because Hongo knocks the coffee out of his hand, and he stands up and he's like, Rukio, and she's like, what? I don't what? And so he checks around her neck, and lo and behold, as if a grandfather doing the quarter behind the ear trick, he finds that she's wearing a funky, fresh new earring that has a shocker like sound device on it. I don't know. My brain started kind of melting at that point.
Yeah, just like the bee. But
Yeah.
but it's like
yeah.
a Christmas ornament. It's just flashing on and off, and it just keeps beeping and beeping.
Horrible
It's
noise.
real bad.
It's apparently supposed to be in one of those frequencies that only super cyborg ears
Can
of
hear.
Takeshi Hongo can hear, and that's how
And
he
the
realizes some. Well, yeah, and the audience.
Yeah.
And
Well,
our-
of course, because
with our-
we have
with
the
our
echo.
spirit vision.
Yeah.
With the echo. Yeah, and then I think I am dubbing this. I dubbed it in my notes the Ruriko effect because she is still once again, completely being used as a tool to have Shocker gain an advantage over Hongo. This time though, I think it just got completely inverted on them.
Yes.
So I'll give the show props for that because he then proceeds to just use this mind control earring to just track them.
Yep.
He just hones in on their location with it.
He's just like, I'm going to follow this noise all the way to the source, basically.
If I might take us back a little bit, I checked back to answer the question regarding the chamber and the captives. So at first, the bee woman says, the best of them will be turned into shocker combatants. The people all begin to protest and try to fight back. Then she says, execute them all as part of the gas testing process. When Hongo goes to save them all, however, you can see them emerging from the chamber with very faint paint. So the gas is sort of like the shockerification process, and it almost like implies that it's not face paint because the paint is the marks are emerging on their face over time as they were in that chamber.
That does check out because the glasses store guy, when he makes his appearance in the
It
base,
kind of just
goes,
fades.
and turns into shocker paint.
Yeah.
Right before everyone's eyes.
There's a lot of things in this show that should be skin but are not skin, and it's
or aren't.
It's weird.
Or R, yeah.
Or should
It's good.
not be skin in R.
Yeah.
The determination of what
Ooh.
is and is not skinned in this show is not great. They really don't
I
clarify
think
that one
it's
for you.
fun.
That does.
I
check
think
out
you get to run wild.
a little
I mean,
bit.
you do. It's the
Flesh
70s.
vents.
This all does check out though because I believe the only comment made on the gas is that the bee woman says Shocker is going to use this to take over the world.
Yeah,
And that's it.
that's about it.
So yeah, because it just turns people into minions.
I just want to
Banana.
go ahead and say very quickly, while it was very apt for this particular sentence, I'm just going to go ahead and throw Shockerification into the trash. We can't keep that one.
You don't like that?
Shockerification
You
is
don't like
not allowed to stay.
shockerification?
I already see the meme in my mind, and I'm not happy about it. I see her
You
picking
don't
up the
like
book.
it?
We cannot
what?
keep Shockerification.
I like.
I am.
You know what? No,
Hmm.
I'm not gonna follow up on that
Don't.
one. Never mind.
We can't.
I feel like I'm going to receive some very strange DMs explaining what on earth I have wrought upon
No, you're
the
not.
world
What you're
because-
going to receive are some really bad memes.
I don't understand either. And
Go for we're in
will-
for a world of hurt.
I'll
You were going to get the DM of the
educate
bad
you
memes from Action Shakespeare.
educate you during. I'm going to give you the bad DMs
it
but
can't.
during the break.
I'm sure I've seen worse memes. I won't bring that up.
We'll
But-
we'll go.
Moving
Yeah,
on.
moving on. Moving right along.
Moving right along,
We
just
got-
like
we got a
Takeshi
big
Hongo,
fight.
we
Yes.
have going to the ultimate fight. We have a transformation sequence.
Yes, we get a new
Yes.
on-bike transformation sequence. And I have got only 2 words to describe how good this transformation sequence is, and that's ass out.
Up.
Cheeks all the way up.
Cheeks up.
Triple cheeked up
Facing
on
the
a Thursday
sun.
afternoon. The sun's still out.
Ugh.
Really is.
Shining off those leather pants. The glint.
It's enough to shine the light to the North Star of Justice.
I'm sorry. I have a foot in each camp
Yep.
here.
Sam, but
This is why I like doing
I
this
just-
podcast with you people.
Oh God. Is it because we have shame?
Or none.
Yeah, specifically it's because
Depends on
none.
Depends on the minute.
see,
Yeah.
I have too much shame, and if I let go of my shame, that'd be the end of me.
I feel that.
But
yes,
yes,
we track Shocker down and have a climactic fight.
I do want to talk about this transformation scene just a bit because,
Oh,
jokes
yeah,
aside,
sorry.
this is legitimately a super cool transformation sequence.
Yes.
Something that we had commented on earlier, where we talked about how it seemed like the bike was supposed to transform during the transformation sequence, but it didn't seem to.
Mhm.
And then I think we commented on the last episode about how we have a new bike, but we don't know how we get there. Well, now we've got the full through. Right, we have the bike that Hongo starts on, he flips the switch, and we actually watch Hongo and the bike kind of transform in real time. It looks like they probably use independent, like, stills and maybe some replaceable, like, chassis parts in order to do it, but it's a great effect. These bikes look awesome. It's just, if you haven't watched it, like, even if you don't watch the episodes, but you're interested in what we're talking about, see if you can just go find that particular transformation sequence, because it's awesome.
It is starting at, let's see, starting at basically 1942 on
Good
Shout
year.
Factory.
Sponsor
Yeah.
us.
Hey, Shout Factory, this is 3.
Not sponsored by Shout Factory yet.
Yeah, we're putting.
Yet.
You want to come sponsored podcast for all of the hosts or dickheads, and one of them says he'll fight the audience. We'll do good ad revenue for you, we swear.
We are very grateful for your services, and we would love to recommend them to other people to
Yeah.
use. So please
For
give
money.
us a call if you ever happen to get a hold of this for whatever reason and get this far into the episode. We are eternally grateful.
Yeah, if
We
you-
could just tweet at him too.
This is
How
true.
you doing, Shout Factory?
But also, most importantly, for the people listening, like, legitimately, genuinely, if you are interested in the show at all or other Toku stuff because of what you've been hearing us talk about, please check out Shout Factory. It's very cool that there's now a service in the West that is streaming Kamen Rider because, again, like as I mentioned in our announcement stream, if you missed that, the VOD is on the YouTube, but for a while now, it was pretty difficult to get your hands on Kamen Rider. So having somewhere where you can just stream it is really nice. So thank you, Shout Factory. Please sponsor us.
There's also an interesting layering of effects in the transformation sequence because it's actually in slow motion if you look at the scarf.
Is it?
But then, and then there's the overlay that's just whizzing by, so it creates an interesting pace, which I really appreciate now that I'm looking at it more, honestly.
That's super cool. Yeah, I did not notice that during our actual watch throughs. I'll have to go take a look at that again. That's fucking dope as hell. But you know what else is dope as hell is this fight sequence that we got coming up, and this is the one inside the like mountain looking region. Whew.
Yeah.
Hongo,
Yes.
This quarry.
Hongo gets him a sword, and when Hongo has a sword, he's gonna go buck wild.
He does.
I don't know why he doesn't keep one of these swords.
Well, because we haven't established the toy line yet.
He'd be too powerful.
That is
He
for
just
future Kamen
shanks
Riders.
Oh,
two of them.
I'm rewatching this. I fucking love this.
Oh,
fight scene.
and the scene where he just throws the sword,
Yes.
right? Like,
oh my god.
like Javelin throws the
Just
sword.
yeets
So
the sword at some
good.
guy like it's a javelin.
Hongo gets
It's-
his kill
it's
count
not
up real quick.
Very quickly. It's not very important, but I don't know why. For some reason, it really amused me when he first gets on the scene for this fight, and the bee woman is the only one out on like the arena for the moment. Like, she almost seems like she's like shuffling away defensively.
No, she's
To be fair, he already stabbed
Yeah.
her, so
Yes,
guess that's-
she knows.
Look,
What, she doesn't want to catch the smoke.
yeah. I was gonna say if I rolled up to a fight with a dude who had already stabbed me once, I'd probably start on the defensive foot too. I know what that dude's capable of.
Like, she
He
was on
stabbed
the
me once.
Do
and
it
then
again.
she goes and hides. Yeah, that's how she gets the sword thrown at her later.
And this is another very small thing of the fight scene, but there's a scene where one of the mooks is rolling down the hill, and you can see him just skirt down like the side of it, and it pretty much kind of covers the camera for a second. It's just a very nice and dynamic scene. I really like how it's framed.
Yeah, lots of
Just we've mentioned it a few times, but just the cinematography can get pretty good, like at times.
Especially for action scenes.
Yeah.
I mean, I
We do, of course, still have our old favorite camera on the ground, and everybody starts
Oh,
to
of
Hell
embrace
yeah.
it.
A classic.
To varying degrees
Yes.
of
athleticism.
competence.
Yeah.
I like. My favorite part is that of that scene is that they're going in opposite directions too. So like,
Mhm.
where are they in relation to Kamen Rider? They should be all jumping in the same direction, right?
Who
It's
knows?
just-
Who cares?
They're surrounding
Yeah.
him.
I love it.
I talked about it in the first episode. I will talk about it every time it shows up. But anytime we get a fight in a really hilly region like this, I am always going to be a happy camper. We use the hills in this particular fight scene to some great effect. Lots of good effects of people just like
Oh,
sliding down
absolutely.
the hills.
the
Mhm.
the extras here, the mooks,
Yeah.
just their dedication to sliding down this hill. Usually, when you see someone slide down a hill, it's like done with a little bit of safety in mind.
No, this is
But nah,
1971.
these look like
These
people.
guys tumble.
These look like people who are just thrown off a hill, and I respect that so much.
Big
Yeah.
same.
Yeah, lots of good dynamic use of the hills and going down them. Great use of just hill to hill, like it's multiple
Yeah.
hills. So you have that amazing shot of Kamen Rider taking the sword and chucking it, and it's done that one. If I'm remembering, let me just double check. I feel like it's done like it's almost like it's one shot.
It
It's
kind of
not,
is.
obviously, or it was, and they just pre-prepared. But yeah, I'm looking at it now. Yeah, they actually did that one shot. He does a motion like he's chucking the sword, and the camera whips over to a guy with a sword in it.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's such a good shot.
It's such a great shot.
It's very, very good. I feel like they're really hitting their stride with the
Yes.
choreography
Oh, certainly.
around this point. Like, I think the first time I really felt it was last episode in episode 7 with the big like fights on like the fair and on the roller coaster rails and stuff. But this felt really, really good.
Yeah, I will say that is probably, I mean, obviously it evolved as time went on, but I will say that definitely the one thing Kamen Rider is confident that it can do well is fight scenes. And I think that's why it throws so many of them in, but I'm not necessarily opposed to that, because as you can hear us commenting on, they do them well.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the scene Shakes was mentioning, and you can barely make it out, but you can make it out that, like, he actually throws it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's not just like, oh, a whip over to the camera and then someone is holding it like he was pretending that he was thrown at it. Like, no, someone actually caught that and then like did that in one take, and that looks really nice.
It looks really good.
It's amazing. Like, when I was going over the death tolls for the last episodes, speaking of the fight scene from episode 7 again, I don't know if you all recall, but there was a really cool part when he's first surrounded by the sword-wielding mooks in episode 7, and he's wielding one already, and he's fighting them off. He takes one out, and the sword flies up in the air, and he catches it.
Yeah.
Errol Flynn shit. I love that
so
scene
good.
still so much.
It's so good. Yeah, there's definitely...
It was all one shot, too.
There's definitely stuff to be desired in Kamen Rider. Fight choreography is not one of those things. They have got that shit down pat. Did you have something that you wanted to talk about, Shakes?
No. If we're gonna move forward,
Yeah, I was gonna say we will go ahead and, just speaking of good fight choreography, we will move on to the actual sword fight against the Bee Woman, which I love the way how this fight starts, because it starts with Hongo taking another sword and throwing it at the Bee Woman and clipping one of her wings off.
Yes,
it's such a good way to start that fight.
Yes. She is hiding behind a tree during the duration of his fight with the mooks, and I guess he's just, with his big juicy brain and cyborg ears, knows exactly where she is, and as soon as he's taken them out, like immediately once their special effects melting animation is over, he throws the sword, and it pierces the tree, and you see a wing fall out from behind it, and then she peers out from the side, like, oh, you got me.
Yeah, and we get just a nice classic one-on-one sword fight between Kamen Rider and the Bee Woman. If I recall correctly, he ends this fight with a rider kick, correct?
It's
Yes.
Is this the
Jakes.
the backflip front flip kick?
Yes. So he outswords her just easily. Like, she's disarmed. Like, he just makes it like her sword is flying, and he takes his sword.
Oh yeah, he
throws it onto the ground in front of her to make a fucking statement, and goes, "People like you who steal freedom and disrupt peace must pay." To which he goes, "How tripe!" And then he jumps in the fucking air, does 3 front flips, and then somehow does another backflip, and then Ryder kicks her off the fucking mountain.
You know, I'm looking at this cut, like the shot, and I'm wondering if they might have had like dummies, because there is no cutaway from when he kicks her off of this cliff to when you see her just tumbling down it.
Oh
no,
but she ragdolls like a person.
It's a pratfall. It's really good.
It's real
Bee Woman
good.
put in the work of a stunt.
Like that,
or somebody in the Bee Woman costume at least.
Like I said,
and then she melts into honey.
They've got this fight scene shit down pat. This is a crew that was largely like stuntmen and like martial artists and oh, you know what? Probably junior wrestlers because it occurs to me. We didn't talk about the guy who goes for the pin.
Yes, there's a Mook that absolutely knocks Kamen Rider down and goes for the cover.
Absolutely like unapologetically, if you have ever watched an indie wrestling match, you have seen this exact dude do this exact move and this exact scramble for the cover, only for Kamen Rider to slide out and for him to remember, oh, it's not that kind of show. But yeah, this was clearly people who were, they were hired for their knowledge and their physical ability. These are people who very clearly know what they are doing, and this show does a stellar job of making the most out of that, I would say.
Absolutely.
Well, with all that being said, that takes us through the wonder of the creepy bee woman. Unfortunately, no really fun facts that we can go through on this particular episode because they are spoilers for future stuff. So we will go on to episode 9, The Monstrous Cobra Man. My personal thought, though, was since our next 2 episodes are essentially related to each other, and that is Monstrous Cobra Man and Cobra Man Reborn, that we might tackle those episodes after the break. What do you say?
I agree.
I say yeah.
Sounds
All
good.
right. Well, so you heard it from us. We are going to take a short break. You're going to have a nice little ad read while you wait for us, and we'll be right back with more of the podcast right after this.
Thank you for listening so far. Please consider giving us a follow over at @FirstRidePod on Twitter. If you want to catch us individually, you can also follow @KingFats95, @WhaleGopher, @ThatGalInTheHat, and @BDropsArt. If you'd like to see even more, consider following the Tales of Harbor Twitter, @HarborTales. Tales of Harbor is an actual play OVA tabletop game featuring Action Shakespeare and B-Drops, along with Public Opinion RP and DM'd by Wordsy. Consider using the hashtag Tales of Harbor. Not only does it help promote the show, but doing so will let your name be used as an NPC within the game. Furthermore, the pinned tweet on the Tales of Harbor Twitter is a place where you can suggest magical items for the players to purchase. You can submit them anonymously, or you can leave your name if you wish to be credited for the item. Tales of Harbor is hosted every other Friday on twitch.tv/wordsy. WORDSE. Thank you for listening, and now back to the podcast.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that little break. We certainly did. And we are going to move right along to episode number 9 of the original Kamen Rider, The Monstrous Cobra Man, which originally aired May 29th, 1971. We do get a plot synopsis this time, so we won't be doing all the heavy lifting ourselves. During a robbery, Cobra Man loses his special fangs, which enable his deadliest weapon. Since they would take months to replace, he goes after the guard dog that stole them. That second part's like super
That is
skipped a lot.
Yeah, first of all, that's the plot. Second of all, second part is not super like well explained, but we'll get into that. So the opening of this episode is pretty. Is this the first time we get like an all shocker opening? Actually, now that I'm thinking about it.
I think
Is
so.
it? Maybe.
I think this is
Yeah,
because we
'cause
don't
it's
have
all
any
Cobra
civilians or anything. It's just shocker stuff.
He's getting equipped.
Yeah. So yeah, I think this is the first time we have
Yeah.
ever gotten an all shocker opening. where we see the Cobra Man is being fitted out with these special fangs that make no sense in context.
I need to review what the fangs do.
Well, so the fangs...
It combines with substance B from Cobra's ears. Wait, one moment. Substance B, and then it's force pumped out by the pump in Cobra Man's heart. After which it is expelled through the snake arm and allows him to dissolve any substance at will.
I need you to understand through that explanation. These are fangs that go into his mouth.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
He puts these fangs in his mouth, and a substance inside of them mixes with a chemical in his ears, gets force pumped out through his heart into his snake arm, where it is emitted as a mist that allows him to dissolve anything.
It is
What?
fantastic.
In what context?
Itself?
Like, truly, like, this makes no fucking sense. It's the most... I think the worst part is the fact that they tried to explain it.
It's the most in-depth thing they've ever tried to explain.
It really is, and it's the thing
wild.
that should be explained the least.
Right? They show an entire diagram as they're explaining it with like a little light that follows along the diagram.
Showing
where
is a
things are going.
Showing the diagram is a strong word, but
Yeah.
It's
Vaguely
very
illuminating
funny.
the diagram.
Because as you all are saying, there's no need to explain this. If you show me a giant Cobra Man, I wouldn't be surprised if you just said, yes, he can shoot acid venom out of his snake mouth. I would not
all
question
you
it.
had to
I'd be
do
like,
was
yeah,
be
sure,
like,
that sounds great.
His snake mouth spits venom, right? And then even if it came out as a gas, I'd be like, all right, well, whatever, limitations of the 70s. But like...
Like, the closest thing we've ever gotten to this level of explanation for literally anything is the first episode when Hongo is first being explained about the covert Nazi cyborgification
pretty
process.
much.
And where is it? When he and Tachibana are also talking about how they figured out the, like, turbo energy.
Yeah.
And that's it.
It's just...
I guess they figured they were overdue for some pseudoscience. I don't know. The man has a snake
Yeah.
arm. His hand is a snake. And it extends. It's an extendo snake hand, and they have him test his stuff on a mook that I guess lived out his usefulness and turned him into foam.
Yeah.
I am genuinely impressed with the snake arms extendo ray, or not extendo ray.
Yes.
Yeah, the extended snake arm
way it
effect is actually
extends.
real solid.
It's cute.
Real Freddy Krueger.
Yeah.
A little
I
bit.
will say, it's funny
Yeah.
that they say that this beam is supposed to dissolve you, because the effect makes it look like you get hyper rabies. Like the
For a little
for
bit.
a little bit, yeah. The what happens is the snake hand goes up to you, it sprays this pink mist in your face, and then the people start like grabbing their faces, and then just like a ton of foam just starts getting pumped out like through their hands.
Gotta put it there somewhere, and then we get that lovely reverse footage of some foam sinking into a hole or whatever on not special effects.
Yeah, she
plywood,
hasn't come back. I think this is her
But-
little brother.
or she's got a new that, or she got a refit.
Yeah. But it's special effects something. I'm still going with Shakes that it's special effects poster board. Her little brother. Just bring your
love it.
sibling
It
to work
looks a
day.
little more natural on the gray setting. So yeah.
Just a small note that I enjoy. We are continuing the trend of monsters with weird, messed up one hands and then normal other hands. I don't know. I think that's fun.
It seems
It
to be
is.
kind of a staple of this series, starting at Scorpion Man. Really,
Yes.
it's like if that animal has a like distinct type of hand, or appendage, I suppose that they can give the monster of the week, they're gonna do it. which kind of makes me surprised that Bee Woman didn't have some kind of a stinger hand.
Yeah, she just hits you with swords and injectors.
Yeah.
Her theming was strange.
Yeah.
Honestly, sunglasses, gas, sword fighting.
Also, she was purple. Yeah.
Purple.
Well, like I can I don't know if was this known in the 70s of ultraviolet colors being seen by butterflies.
I couldn't.
I don't know,
I'm not the
but that would
70s.
be-
I don't know.
Why not?
That would be interesting.
But like I can see that line of reasoning if that existed at the time, but it's very interesting, especially because, and maybe they just did it to make her stand out.
That has to be my thought. Is they didn't want her to be all
Yeah.
black and yellow, and they wanted her to be a little more colorful.
Although I think like a very striking yellow suit would have still worked.
Yeah.
But
I think the
Yeah.
black and yellow would have worked well, but here's the thing. I'm not gonna say that I dislike the Bee Woman suit. I think it looks really interesting. The what little yellow is on the suit really pops when compared with the like the bluish purple of the actual suit and then the purple of the head part. Oh, you know what? Just on a whim here, I'm gonna look up Japanese honeybee and see what I get.
I mean, there are blue bees, but I don't believe your average Japanese honey
Yeah,
bee
no, it doesn't look like it.
is that far removed from Western breeds.
I was just
I'll,
it was just the first thing I thought of, was like, hey, maybe the Japanese bees are like that color and that's why they went for it.
and as for blue bees,
What'd you get when you searched that?
well, the coloration would make sense, just the timing of their discovery. First discovered in 2011.
a
A little late.
far off the mark.
Yeah.
Well, and to be fair, this is
And
a purple
it may have
bee.
just been like a. This might have just been like a fun creative decision.
Yeah, that's. I mean,
You're
I
telling
think
me
at the end
that
of the day, that's
Kamen
probably
Rider?
just all it was to it.
You're telling me that Kamen Rider is not scientifically accurate?
Well, it's the 70s. Some things get disproven
Yeah.
over time,
Okay.
you know?
Just, as long as, you don't destroy my illusion of that everything in this is just,
Yeah, no, don't
scientifically accurate.
don't worry. Japan is in fact just like this.
It was up to date knowledge that at the time that cobras all had an arm that just had another snake on it.
Okay, well, that's what I thought. So I'm glad that can be reaffirmed by Kamen Rider.
I want to talk off topic for just a second because I really appreciate.
course.
This is no. It's just this is really funny to me because the Wikia site has ads on it because of course it does. But
Yeah.
on the Monstrous Cobra Man page, the only ad that is showing on this page is an ad for the show Cobra Kai.
Hey, nice.
It's
Cross promotion, baby.
every now and again the universe just works out in fun ways. Anyway, so yes, we get
It's just spying on us, Google.
we get Cobra Man learning how to Cobra Man, and then after he has tested
Doing
out
what he
his
Cobra
powers,
can.
it's we explain the plan at that point, which is a doozy.
Steel gold.
Yeah, it's steel gold. We're gonna go to the Ministry of Finance, and we're gonna break into a vault, and we're gonna steal. Expressly, we are going to steal all of the gold in the world, but we're starting with Japan, and then we're gonna go to America, and then we're going to go to London, and I guess apparently those are the only places on the planet with gold. Because those are the only
Probably the
places
ones
that are
with the
listed,
most.
at least.
It's all of them.
It's all the gold.
Maybe we'll hit up
We got it.
Sweden or something, wherever.
Yeah, once we're done with London, we'll...
Maybe they just haven't decided where to go after that. They're
see
just
how we're
getting
feeling.
Yeah,
their
after
list
London, we're
started.
going to stop for a
Yeah.
quick lunch in France, see how we're feeling. But yes, so we begin our mission to sneak into the Ministry of Finance in order to steal the gold. And we introduce guy who we were right about, I guess?
Kondo.
Yes.
His name is Kondo.
Yeah, his
apparently.
name is Kondo. He's a night guard at the Ministry of Finance, and he's a single father, and he loves his boy very much. So we were all like, oh, this dude's fucked. Like, 100% guaranteed to die, but that's not quite what happens. So Kondo gets relieved for his shift, and he heads home to his house that is in the Ministry of Finance.
I think he lives there. I don't know. It's so
It is
weird.
heavily implied that he lives in the Ministry of Finance.
However, it's heavily implied that he's not in the Ministry of Finance either. And that's
I
because
don't know what to think.
in the shot where he's leaving this building, he goes to where his house will be, but just walks the other direction, and you can see more shots of him just continue, and then he enters his house.
Yeah, we don't know where this dude lives. It is so confusing where this guy is. I hesitate to call it a house because it's less than an apartment, at least that we see.
I have to think it's an adjoining building. Or
Yeah,
something.
maybe he lives in like
It's-
the security dorm.
Because everything that follows just would not make sense.
Yeah.
Right? But, like, at the same time, that those few scenes don't make sense either for the establishing shots, and I don't understand.
Once again, Kamen Rider fails to make something make sense. Who'd have thunked it?
It's just such a little thing, but it's like,
Yeah,
It's
this is the episode that stood out for that.
that's the thing
in
is it's
this batch.
always the little shit too, isn't it? It's like it's rarely stuff that's like super plot important, but is at least plot
No, not
important
at all.
enough that like it should have been explained at least a little.
and like, I'm wondering what happens on the editing floor to have this happen.
Right? Because you would imagine they shot shots, right? Like, or that there was script items for that. I think the worst thing about it is that there is a narrator in the series, and he is used so sparingly. And he
Yeah,
could just
he's
be
just
he
kinda
could be
chilling.
filling in all of these spots. Like, as much
Really
as I would
good,
rather
couldn't
there
it?
be like an actual shot or a proper explanation, if you at least have a dude tell me what's going on, that's better than nothing.
It's-
In any case,
Yeah. Anyhow,
Kondo goes home to his wonderful son and lovely dog
Dummy.
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 his beautiful little German Shepherd, whose name is Dummy.
I love you, dummy.
Love you.
Everybody loves Dummy. And you'll learn why more as we go into the episode. But so as Kondo leaves, another guard goes to take his place, and this guard, as he is standing watch, finds himself ambushed by the Cobra Man. So Kondo is surprisingly not the one to die. Maybe. We'll get into that here in a bit. But so
Yeah,
so
that's-
Kondo goes home and he goes to bed. And he's sleeping with his son and he's having a nice night. Meanwhile, Cobra Man has broken into the Ministry of Finance, and he's melting the door on the safe into the ministry so he can get his hands on the gold. But there's one man, one brave hero, one warrior sent down from the gods who isn't going to let the Cobra Man just have his way. And who is this man? Who is this myth? Who is this legend who would stop at nothing to prevent the evil Shocker from getting their hands on the Ministry of Finance's gold? Why, it's...
Kamen Rider?
No, it's the action dog Dummy.
And
So
Dummy's a hero.
Dummy is a hero,
really
but
is.
also what the shit? So Cobra Man melts
okay.
down the door to the safe. He walks inside, and then immediately Dummy just like gets up and leaves the house, and in one frame is at the Ministry of Finance safe, where he jumps into the melted safe and starts. I can only describe it as harassing the Cobra Man. Because he doesn't really like bite him or anything, which makes sense that like they wouldn't want that to happen to the dude in the suit or the suit in general. So Dummy just kind of like, I mean, he really just kind of big dogs him out of the safe room, and apparently somehow in the kerfuffle, the Cobra Man drops his special fangs that his dad got him for Christmas, which Dummy I guess steals.
Yeah.
It actually doesn't
It's
say anything, because it's just, I just watched the scene back a few times. The fangs certainly do drop, but then it's just a scene of Dummy looking proud as he should.
Yeah.
But then it cuts.
Perfectly fine.
Then it cuts to like the Ministry of Gold has been like
Broken
under
into,
attack. Yeah. Just,
Yeah, it immediately cuts
we
to
get our
news
little,
headlines.
Breaking.
Yeah, X-ray, read all about it. Ministry of Gold is broken
Yeah.
into, breaking prevented by Hero Dog. So, I believe at this point we go to Takeshi Hongo rolling into Snack Amigo, and he has the morning's paper, and as he's reading through it and he's reading all of these headlines, Takeshi Hongo and his 600 IQ juicy brain, he knows immediately this must be the work of Shocker. Only Shocker would try to steal gold, I guess.
Yeah.
and I suppose yes.
Who were we to argue?
I mean, I understand we only have one antagonist in the show, but shit. Try. Please try.
he.
So I if I recall correctly, he does not actually go to the scene of the crime, does he?
No. Not whatsoever.
Not yet. But during the scene, something fun happens.
Okay.
Noriko, while they're in Snack Amigo, bestows upon Hongo a beautiful gift. A necklace with a pendant on it.
It's not pendant.
Looks like a
It
bullet.
looks like a fucking bullet.
Looks like a bullet? It looks like a bullet. She does say it's a locket. He doesn't open it.
Nope.
But we do find out what's in
Well,
it.
Tachibana tells us exactly
later.
what's in it. He says it's a bell for the cat.
And I think he says it sort of
Well, yeah.
jokingly, but I guess we can spoil it right now. It's not a
Nope.
joke. They just
fucking
chipped this man.
Hongo.
He keeps running
Yeah.
off, and they can't find him.
I love my himbo Hongo Tachibana so much. He's so perfect, but also he keeps running away every time I open the door, so I chipped him.
600 IQ himbo.
Yeah,
We can rebuild him.
we have the technology. So yeah, they chip Hongo, and then we cut to Kondo again, and I guess he's. What the fuck is Kondo doing? Now that I'm thinking, because he's coming
he had
home,
a-
but he shouldn't have
He
been
had
at
another
work, because he works the night shift, and it's the middle of the day.
Maybe he's just out for lunch.
I get in his uniform.
In his uniform.
What are you doing? Who is this man? Yo, they got him cooking.
Yo, Hongo.
And then we get the bomb drop of the century.
biggest
Yeah,
plot
it just
twist.
keeps coming.
So I will let's go ahead and get on the on ramp to the bomb drop. So Kondo comes home to find that his place has been ransacked, and she is affronted by the Cobra Man, who asks him where his special fangs are. Oh, you know what? We have skipped a scene, haven't we? Because there is the scene of Cobra Man being berated by his boss because he dropped
that's
his
later.
cool fangs. And his boss is
Oh,
like,
yes.
we can't make you another one. It's going to take 6 months, you asshole. Go find them. which I do appreciate that energy. So yes, so Cobra Man is now on the search for his fangs, and I guess he somehow found out that Kondo had them. Maybe. So he ransacks Kondo's place, can't find them, and interrogates Kondo, to ask about the fangs, and Kondo clearly doesn't know because he was asleep for the whole ordeal. Where Cobra Man reveals that it was Kondo's dog who attacked him and prevented him from robbing the ministry, and so he's like, "Where is your dog?" And we get the bomb drop of the century as Kondo reveals he's dead. And then we immediately cut to Kondo's son praying at his dog Dummy's grave.
Dummy died a hero.
Because Dummy, Dummy died a hero off screen.
Presumably, I guess we can try to assume that he succumbed to his wounds from battle, even though it didn't really look like he took any.
Yeah, well,
that's the thing. Maybe, I don't know, unless there's some other secret dark backstory of Dummy having some sort of, like, terminal disease.
What's even more fascinating to me is that if you look at the background of Dummy's grave, it looks like a landfill.
It kind of does.
Like, I don't know how...
I think it's like a torn down building.
Right? So...
Did their house get knocked over with Dummy inside of it?
Like, the only
know.
other thing I can think of besides something like that is that, spoilers for later on, but it is revealed that Dummy stole the Cobra Man's fangs. The only thing I can think of is that, like, whatever substance is in those fangs that allows him to dissolve shit, like, poisoned him.
Yeah, that
Maybe?
did come to mind.
But also, like, they buried this dog here very quickly.
Yeah, Dummy is dead and gone in about 5 seconds. They get him in the ground instantly. It's like they knew.
There's even a long shot of them, like, chasing this kid. And you can overlook, like, a city in Japan. So, like, where are they? There's no house.
Well, you see, they're in a place we like to call the writer zone. And it's
Really?
where you go to be sad or to have a fight when you're an Kamen Rider. It's where Hongo found those
kinda.
puppies.
It's an
Yeah.
empty
Yeah.
lot that they could film it.
It's an empty lot that nobody gets mad at them where they film it. So yes, we find out that Dummy the dog is dead. Sadly, tragically, this
Rip Dummy. He will always be
rest in
remembered.
peace. All dogs really do go to heaven. And so the boy prays at his grave, and then where does he go? He doesn't.
He gets kidnapped.
He does
Yeah.
get kidnapped immediately, doesn't he? Yeah. Cobra Man rolls up
Yeah,
and is like,
they get after him.
"Oh, go ahead, B."
Oh, they approach him while he is at the dog's grave. While he's at Dummy's grave, they find
believe it.
him.
Fucking desecrate the sanctity of Dummy's grave like this.
Exactly.
Horrid.
It's horrible.
Shocker is the worst. Shocker must die. But yeah, so the young boy gets kidnapped. I'm starting to put the pieces of this plot together as we continue through it. How the fuck does Hongo get involved? Because the dad has disappeared at this point. We can only presume he is dead, so he hasn't reported that his child is missing. Obviously, the kid hasn't gone to Hongo to be like, hey, I got kidnapped. Dummy's not around to notify him of what's up.
He was just driving by or
He
something
sure was.
and happened to see the kid getting
Bullshit.
kidnapped. No, it doesn't make sense. I completely agree, but like there wasn't
I
really
can't-
any other
Yeah,
connection
that's literally
given
it.
to us.
I just reviewed the clip.
Wow.
Hongo's just driving on his motorcycle and hears help and rushes to the scene.
It
Amazing.
transforms
Like
into
Superman.
Kamen Rider too.
Transforms and gets on it.
You know, say what you will about Takeshi Hongo, but that man is always ready to do what's right. And I appreciate him for that. Wow.
I think we all do.
Boy.
Yeah, like I remember us being confused in the scene and laughing about like passerby Takeshi Hongo just
Yes, I'm
Here.
just a motorcycle man passing by. Yeah, it's just what
Your friendly
happens.
neighborhood Takeshi Honko.
I was personally more of a fan of Spectacular Takeshi Hongo, but I digress.
In any case, I do before we get to the next scene, as they are taking the kidnapped child to the location and Kamen Rider is in pursuit, there is like a shot of Cobra Man in the back seat with the kid, and it almost looks like the kid's just like taking a nap
A
resting
little
on
bit.
him, and Cobra Man has like an arm wrapped around him, and it's
Aw.
almost cute.
Long day of filming, huh?
He does. Yeah.
It's okay, little guy.
Yes.
Oh, buddy, we're going home. We're gonna get McDonald's.
Oh, McDonald's.
Get you a
I
wood
want a Kamen Rider toy.
No, you got shock.
You get shocker,
No.
you get a shocker combatant playset.
I got 4 of those already. I want the Kamen
Shark
Rider.
grab
He's got a little
push
button on his back. Makes him kick.
Everybody wants Kamen Rider.
I'm sorry, sir. We don't have
They're
any more
blind
Kamen Rider
lads.
toys. You'll have to get the.
You at least got like a Tachipana?
Yeah, we gotta talk about.
We got some Rurikos.
You got a dummy?
Yeah.
Maybe a chameleon man?
I'll take a chameleon, man. I'll trade you my man-eating Saracenian for your chameleon, man. No way, man. What a horrible trade.
Oh, no.
No way.
At least I'm not asking for a mantis man, you know?
Everybody points and laughs at the one kid who's only got a mantis man.
Aww.
Dumb idiot.
Anyway,
Anyways, they get their
Moving on to the
McDonald's and
next
they move
scene.
to an abandoned building.
yes, I feel like it is
Great.
important to note, to point out, especially because it kind of supports the joke that I made in the 10th episode that apparently Shocker is broke because this is the same abandoned building that B-Woman's base was in.
Yeah.
Apparently Shocker's real
Redecorated.
hard up for cash. They really needed that $3 trillion treasure, whatever it was. Which makes sense in hindsight, because building a cyborg is not cheap. But they go to the Shocker base, which is nicely adorned with Cobra iconography and everything. Gojo. And I know we go to the base, but I can't think of what happens. We got 2 people watching the episode. If you'd like to,
Fight scene.
that sounds about
Yeah,
right.
There's a
So,
fight scene on the
we lead-
exterior.
Yes, we lead into a fight scene, and we start with an amazing scene of Kamen Rider after he arrives on the scene, and the mooks come out, and they act all cool with their knives. He just jumps up to their level and then
Oh,
sprints
yes.
away at full speed, and they
And then
follow
he jumps
him.
back down.
My favorite
He's leading them to the ground, I guess. So it's a safer. It's a segue to a safer place to fight, I assume, because they're really where they were was just a high place, like 2 or 3 stories up with no
Also, I
railings
will
or
say
anything.
Yeah.
one thing I really love about Kamen Rider as a show is they constantly establish people having the high ground on Kamen Rider, and then him just jumping up to their level as if to say "fuck you."
Surprise.
Like I almost
favorite
wish.
part
Oh,
of
go ahead.
that. My favorite part of the running through scene is there's a perfectly timed I want to say like xylophone tapping going on, so it's really good.
Yeah, I mean, as always, the soundtrack in this show is on point. I was just gonna say, I kind of wish that this version of Kamen Rider had been made like today / in more modern times, because I can just only imagine the number of "I have the high ground" memes that would be made about the show, because everyone has
There's
the
still
high
time.
ground.
We're doing it.
But you underestimate Kamen Rider's power, and then he just jumps up there.
Exactly.
Hello, everyone. Please make Kamen Rider I have the high ground memes. Thank you.
It's over, Cobra Man.
It's
I have the high ground.
everything old is new again. Just start making Kamen Rider 1971
Yeah,
memes.
do it. It'll be a good time. Do it, and we'll retweet them on the Kamen Rider Twitter.
Yeah.
You can be famous with our.
So other than that cool little jump and then a jump down, this fight scene is basically a moot point because the Cobra Man proceeds to then tunnel under the ground, Tasmanian Devil style.
I really wasn't prepared for that because they have him put his hands over his head, and he starts spinning, and he's making his weird butt head laughing but not quite noise. And this, I mean, to the point where we get a whirlwind effect, I was like, oh shit, Cobra Man's about to transform into a giant snake. How are you going to handle this one, Kamen Rider? Psych! He digs into the ground.
And runs away.
He just runs the fuck away. But he's no match for Kamen Rider and his cyborg ears. Because apparently we've decided we need to dedicate a couple of episodes to that plot point.
We really do.
So Cyborg Ears Takeshi
So
Honko
good.
is apparently his cyborg ears are so good that they link to I mean, that's what the visual was. It was a tracking device on his belt. He's just got like a radar belt tracker that he lets him follow people even if they are burrowing underground. And so he follows the Cobra Man to his other base where he has the boy suspended over the pit. And the pit is full of a mysterious bubbling red Kool-Aid that if you slurp, drink the Kool-Aid. If you have some, if you drop something into the Kool-Aid, it immediately catches on fire. What I appreciate about this scene is that this is the scene where Cobra Man is attempting to interrogate the boy into telling him where his fangs are, and this kid says multiple times, I don't know where your fangs are. I really don't know. I swear I don't know.
Please don't kill me. I do not know.
And it's just like,
Sir, I am 8?
Yeah, at what point do you believe in a child's ability to lie to a Cobra Man cyborg who has him suspended above a burning pit? I would have told you what I ate for breakfast that day at 8 if I was in that situation. Any possible information that you wanted, if I had it, I would give it to you for my safety. Like, at what point do you just go, shit, I think this child legit doesn't know where my fangs are?
I said we covered how Chameleon Man is probably like the most nefarious and like genuinely threatening Kamen Rider villain we've seen. On the inverse, I think Cobra Man is probably the biggest dope we've ever seen.
Cobra Man version 1 is a fucking dork.
I don't know if version 2 did all that.
He was a little... Okay,
damn.
Cobra Man version 2 at least
version
looked
1
cooler.
just get chumped.
But yeah, Cobra Man...
Beaten by a dog, cannot interrogate
Child.
a child.
Looks like a
Runs
fish.
Not
Like,
even
we
on
talk about
task.
Mantis Man being
Cobra Man-
unmemorable, but at least he was somewhat successful. Like, Cobra Man just kind of sucks.
Got pretty far.
Yeah.
Cobra Man wasn't even on task for the vast majority of this episode. He's just trying to get his fangs back. Like, he's not even stealing the gold
He has
or anything.
another job he's supposed to be doing, and the majority of the episode is him trying to cover his ass after his own fuck up.
Because he got beaten by a single German shepherd.
By the hero dog Dummy, yeah. Like,
Hallowed be thy name. Tell me.
Rest in peace.
God bless Dummy, and like,
Gone but not
yeah.
forgotten.
May a flight of angels sing thee to thy rest. But man, Cobra Man, you gotta get your shit together, dude. You have to imagine, how do you think the Shocker leader felt watching all of this? Just being like, really, Cobra
bad.
Man? On God?
It makes the next
Yes.
episode seem kind of strange because you'd think Shaka would have looked at this and been like, you know what, bad
Yeah,
investment.
I
Let's
mean,
move
obviously,
on.
no
Yeah,
spoilers.
for-
We already said the name of the episode. It's the Reborn Cobra Man. He comes back. The fact that you would spend resources on this dude, I don't know. I feel like after this comedy of errors that is the Cobra Man episode, you're kind of like, maybe we try a different one, huh? How about we don't do
They're
Cobra Man
so-
again?
Yeah.
They're so adamant about just giving up on their, like, henchmen, but they just try so hard with Cobra Man.
Yeah, that's.
It was a big
I
investment.
mean, he must have been. To
Big
be fair, he was the
And
one
they-
that
and they
steals
had
all
the
the
same-
gold too. So maybe it was just a cost thing.
Yeah.
Maybe they were like, we aren't
I think
getting
they
our
just needed
allowance
a guy to
again
steal
until
gold.
2 weeks. We gotta make Cobra Man work.
Ooh. Before the fight really gets started in this scene, I was just really happy to see this. I don't think it's important whatsoever, but the antennas on Kamen Rider's helmet move.
I think
now?
they always have a little bit.
But that was a big wiggle. Like I'm not just talking about like little like physics when he like jerks his head or anything. Like they were waving those things around with
Well, to be
great
fair, we are
intention.
definitely doing some more effects with Kamen Rider's helmet, because also when he was
Yes.
in the suit and he, I guess, activated his cyborg ears, his eyes started glowing.
Yeah.
Yeah. They
Yes,
start
and I
blinking.
really love it.
So yeah, I mean, like we said, that exponentially growing effects budget.
features.
We are, and it's
Mhm.
see, it's extra fun for me in hindsight because we're adding all of these great effects, right? We're doing the radar belt, we're doing the glowing eyes, we're doing the wiggling antenna, we're doing the Cobra Man extendo arm, all sorts of great effects. You can still see the suit actor's hair out of the back of the Kamen Rider helmet in some shots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's so funny to me every time I see that dude's haircut. I'm like, come on, just tuck it in, my dude. It is a source of infinite joy for me, at least personally.
It's very
But yes,
good.
so Kamen Rider pursues the Cobra Man. A shocker grunt who is watching out for Kamen Rider tips off the Cobra Man that he has arrived, and the Cobra Man and the shocker grunts all get the high ground as they say, "You better watch out going through this path, Kamen Rider, because we've filled it with mines." Which apparently Kamen Rider's answer to that is he takes a step, a mine explodes, and so he jumps up to the same level as everyone else.
Him jump good.
Him jump real good. And so it's fight scene time. And this is a personal favorite fight scene of, I imagine, everyone in the podcast, because this is where we get some of the mine deaths.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's so good. And to anyone who has watched Himitsu Sentai Gorenja, or anyone who is going to, if you love this,
You're gonna love.
you're gonna
I mean, you're
the
gonna
rest
love
of
pretty
that.
much
Oh
all
my
Sentai.
God. Please just cherish the vision of Hui! You'll just be seeing that
Yeah.
dozens of times.
I mean,
every
Sentai is-
episode.
They love them some explosions in Sentai.
It's so good.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, multiple things of a Kamen Rider setting off mines and jumping out of them, and like big ol' fun pyrotechnics. I'm looking through. I'm just scrubbing through real quick. This is not where we get to the mine kills though. Rest assured, spoilers, folks. Kamen Rider will kill some dudes with some land.
Oh, yeah.
But it's not yet. First, they fight on this cool temple.
Oh, yes, the temple set.
Yeah, they're really
Yes.
they're really opening up their shot diversity, and I appreciate that or scene diversity.
Yeah, we've
Setting.
been getting a
That's
lot
the
of
word.
different settings in these couple of episodes, and yeah, this like kind of like very Legends of the Hidden Temple ask. Yeah, that's when I tried to say ass and ask at the same time. But this Legends of the Hidden Temple-esque set that we are at for this particular Cobra Man fight is one that I'm really happy with. I know that's a weird way to frame it, but it's a nice set, and I like it a lot, and I hope we see it again in the future, because it was just nice to look at, but two, the way it was laid out gave them a nice, like, diversity for how they wanted to do some of the choreography as well. It was just a good place for a fight scene.
There's a real good single shot where he is like moves up some stairs next to some other stairs, fights some dudes, runs like diagonal to the camera whips to follow him, and a pyrotechnic goes off on his left, and he does a big old jump.
Yeah.
Like in one shot. It was amazing.
Yeah, this is definitely one of the better sets that we have visited for sure. And I super hope that we get to go back there. Now, I forget.
So, unfortunately, the fight is more or less cut short as Cobra Man goes to threaten to dump the child in the goop if Kamen Rider does not stop kicking his ass.
Yes, I was right.
to which Takeshi is taken prisoner.
Yes, when all of a sudden, who should come to his aid but the King of Kings, the God of Gods, a man sent down from heaven who shines even more gloriously than Dummy the dog. Our hero, your friend and mine, it's Tachibana. And he has been trailing Kamen Rider using the tracker that was given to him at the beginning of the episode. And my man Tachibana breaks into a shocker compound and goes straight off the shits.
Immediately throwing hands with every shocker agent in the
He beats
vicinity.
legitimate shocker agent ass, and it rules so hard.
It's so good. He's such a real one. Like he's down to keep your secrets. He's down to help you train and research. He'll bite his tongue off.
And
for
also
you.
he'll rescue you in a pinch.
Yeah, he rushes the
He
base.
straight up does.
It's like not even like, oh, I'm gonna sneak around. No, he busts in, goes Takeshi.
Yeah,
and
fucking
then starts
Tachibana
kicking
busting
ass.
through.
My note reads Tachibana.
Yeah,
Whoa.
I mean,
My note reads Tachibana badass moments.
I mean, really, it's so.
He just throws a knife. So we did skip over a bit where Kamen Rider is kidnapped.
Yes, we do have to establish the purpose of the kidnapping. Once Kamen Rider is kidnapped, we are given the familiar scene of Kamen Rider strapped to a light table because it's time to finish the brain surgery to turn him into a true shocker combatant. But before that can happen, our homeboy Tachibana rolls up and is like, "You'll not be turning him into a shocker combatant on my watch." He beats a handful of shocker agent asses, and then he just like takes one of their knives and yeets it at the operation table, like destroying the electronics in it. It rules so hard.
Destroys the electronics.
While
and causes
Hongo
explosion.
Yeah.
While Takeshi Hongo is strapped to the table, also, two things. One, he is transformed and without helmet, so once again, we're a little unsure
skin?
as
Is
to
it a
the
suit?
mechanics
Who the
of
fuck
his
knows?
transformation. Is it skin? Who knows? Two, he was asked where the fangs were,
Yes.
and he
This fucking
he
shit.
says
I forgot
that
about this.
he threw them into the ocean
Again.
just like he did with the Nazi treasure.
Yeah, I believe the specific line he says is, he, like, Cobra Man mentions about trying to find the fangs, and fucking Honga's like, oh, haha, you'll never find those. I broke them and threw them into the ocean.
Yeah.
We'll have to
He's
touch back
such
on
a
that
fucking
later,
dickhead.
though, but
Kamen Rider has one trick.
incredible.
As far as we
It's
understand.
Yeah, as far as
incredible.
disposal goes,
So-
Takeshi Honga only knows one place to dispose of things, and that's the ocean.
It's a good place.
It's pretty solid.
It was the 70s.
So following that and Tachibana destroying the electronics, Hongo then frees himself and begins the combat proper.
The Kamen Rider landmine
Yeah.
deathmatch.
Yes.
That's such a great way to put it.
It's really
Bum,
good.
bada, bum, bum, bum.
He gets a bunch of ring outs, and every time he gets a ring out, they land on a landmine and fucking blow
God,
up.
now I'm thinking about it. This would have been like, maybe not quite yet, because it's 71, but like this would have been around that fucking time, huh? In Japan, where they were doing some of those wild ass death matches, like the electric barbed wire and the light tube matches and shit. Just Japanese wrestling off the shits, and probably partially inspired by Kamen Rider. Definitely inspired by Kamen Rider. Just look at fucking Jushin Thunder Liger.
Yeah, that's his whole thing.
That's
Sounds
his whole
amazing.
thing. And it worked. He got his own anime. God bless you, Jushin Thunder. Wherever you are. I know that you're retired and not dead, but like wherever you are, I hope you're doing good, man. Chilling.
Still got his
Probably.
mask on.
He's led a good long career. God, I wonder when
I'm picturing him in like a Hawaiian shirt and shorts.
the
but he
mask,
still has
yeah.
his mask on and he's just sipping a
Symphony.
Mai Tai.
Fuck yeah. Jushin Thunder off the shits. But yeah, so the the minefield death match with Kamen Rider and the Cobra Man. Yeah, Kamen Rider just taking people, tossing them to the ground floor so they can explode on a mine. Just some of the most explicit deaths that we have had since fucking Batman.
Yeah, it's truly just boom,
Yeah,
you're gone.
just bam, done. And this leads to another one of the better rider kicks in the series when he defeats the Cobra Man. I feel like this is another backflip, front flip rider kick. Is that true, or am I crazy?
I'll confirm.
Let us
I'm
check.
checking at the
Yeah,
moment.
because the reason I'm thinking of it,
No, it's just two somersaults played. It's after. one
okay.
another.
Jump, somersault. Yes, rider kick.
And then he rider kicks him off an entire
Yep.
building and
Onto
then
a mine.
onto a landmine. And doesn't stay around to say goodbye as he just wheels off and leaves the kid in the fucking dust.
God, he does. Yeah, he leaves the kid with Tachibana. Oh, I've
because he has to pay his respects to the
to
true
the true
hero.
hero. Yeah.
Yes.
Before we get to that,
And
I
then-
do just want to mention
Oh,
that
yes.
Sorry.
there's a lot of good stuff in this fight scene that does include after Kamen Rider and Tachibana and the kid get out, there's this great little scene where they wait up against a wall and they fire an explosion out of the tunnel that they just left out of, and then they're like, all right, come on, let's go.
Oh yeah.
There's also some dope stunts from the Cobra Man himself, including him doing like a front flip off of a ledge onto the ground. There's just some good choreography in this particular fight. I also wanted to mention, because we didn't touch on it very much, but I'm looking at the little picture, so I'm seeing him do it. We are finally starting to get use of the pose.
Yes.
Yes, it's
Yeah,
becoming
we are
regular
Kamen
now.
Rider is
Yeah.
starting to pose
I noticed
every
that.
fight. We are getting that classic Kamen Rider pose, and I appreciate that, because we're starting to finally kind of establish a baseline of sorts. Yes,
brand,
yeah.
if you will.
I it makes me wonder, because I know at some point Kamen Rider's transformation stops being, as far as I understand, him just like jumping or being on the motorcycle or whatever. And it starts being him hitting the pose, and then kind of like, if you've seen Dragon Ball Z and you've seen the fusion dance, you know, that same kind of like right to left arm movement, but with the you know, with the pose, and then he swaps back to the original stance of the pose, and like that's how he transforms. So I'm wondering when that's gonna, at least I think I'm remembering that correctly.
When we stop requiring wind to transform. He's got to update that suit.
Yeah, so I'm interested to see when
That
we're going to
skin.
be seeing that transformation, if that's going to be coming soon. I wouldn't be surprised if it didn't show up with the arrival of V2, honestly. That seems like it would be a good place to, because I
Maybe.
know V2 has his own pose of some kind as well, that I don't quite recall. So probably just to differentiate between which of your Kamen Riders you're looking at.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, we get a dope fight scene with some great choreography, and then we go ahead and jump forward to Takeshi Hongo, the Kamen Rider, paying his respects to the true hero as we go back to the grave of Dummy the dog, and Kamen Rider leaves a bouquet of flowers there for him.
While still in the suit.
Yeah, still in the suit. When his cyborg ears hear a sound and he goes off to hide in the distance, only to see that the young boy, Tachibana and Ryukio are there also to pay their respects to Dummy the dog. And for whatever reason, the boy sees that there are other flowers there, and he goes, "Hey, who else came to visit?" You know, I guess that makes sense, because, you know, he's there and he just showed up, and I guess his dad is dead. So who else would have been there?
Yeah, because he comes with Tachibana and Ruriko. Like, his dad is
Oh.
never seen again for the episode.
I almost forgot to establish the most important thing, because we touched on it briefly previously when we talked about
Yes.
Hongo-kun and how he likes to dispose of things. Another thing we establish as Kamen Rider visits the grave is that apparently the dog had the fangs the whole time. They were just like at his gravesite or something, which
Yeah, they were just sitting there
apparently Kamen Rider didn't know that either.
and just
He
boldface
just
lied.
boldface lied to these Nazis. He was like, "Yeah, fuck you. I threw him in the ocean," even though, in all honesty,
Good
he
on
had
him.
no idea where they were.
Disinformation campaign, Kamen Rider, 600 IQ.
Like, what a guy!
This man's unstoppable.
But yeah, the end of this episode is quite interesting, especially because, right? So the kid goes to visit the grave. He's like, "Who else visited my dog's grave?" Tachibana's like, "I bet you it was the Kamen Rider." And the kid's like, "Oh yeah, that's right. I wonder if I'll ever see a Kamen Rider again." And Tachibana just kind of makes this face at him. And Rurukio's like, "I'm sure you'll see the Kamen Rider again. I know him. I'll take you to him." And he's like, "Okay, but you better not be lying." And I think then Rurukio asks where Tachibana's been this whole time. Or no, not Tachibana, but Takeshi. I believe Rurukio asks where Takeshi has been this whole time. And Tachibana just lets the cat out of the bag that he slipped a tracker in the pendant she gave him. Which I don't... That seems counterintuitive to what our supposed mission is.
So he was using it as a cover story, because Ruriko comments, "Oh, I wonder why Takeshi didn't come to help with this situation," and he goes, well, you know, and she goes like, "Oh, I wonder where he is." He's like, "I know exactly where he is." She's like, "How?" "I'm tracking him."
I'm stalking your friend. It's not weird.
They just kind of have a laugh about
Yeah, but it's just like, because Hongo seems to be so adamant about, like, her not finding out that he's the Kamen Rider. I feel like this would be incredibly counterintuitive to that plan.
I mean, Tachibana might not be in
I
the same
guess.
agenda, though. He might want Ditsuko, or not Ditsuko,
Yeah,
Ruriko to
he
find
might just
out.
be like, "Look, you just gotta tell her, dog. And since you won't tell her, I'm gonna just make sure she finds out."
It sure seems like something is being set up, potentially.
For
I don't
sure.
know. I don't think we see it in the next episode.
It does not come up at all in the next episode.
It's just so weird that she still
the
doesn't
writers
know.
remember.
It's amazing.
It is so weird.
Speaking of go ahead.
Oh, I don't know. At least they tried to give him like a motivation, in his little monologue of, he doesn't want her to know he's a big old freak. I guess
It's so.
it's mostly shame.
It's weird that he is still very much so in this like I'm ashamed of what I am like mindset at this point. Right? We are 9 episodes into this show. He's done nothing but good for the people of the world, but he's still like every 15 minutes he's still being like, but I'm not normal.
Yeah, we have never been given like an in-depth look at why Hongo is so
To being a
opposed
cyborg,
to
yeah.
this state of being. Like, we don't know if he has fears of hurting people. Like, obviously he hurt like Kenji back in an earlier episode when he held that kid's hand and crushed them a little bit. And he was like, oh no, this sucks. Or like in the first episode when he broke the faucet tap, but like he just doesn't have like a good bearing on how strong he is yet. And we don't know if it's entirely his fears of hurting people, or if it's fears of being different, or if it's fears of like literally just the concept of what is in my body I don't know. He just doesn't seem to like it, and we don't know why exactly.
I mean, it's fair because the Nazi cyborg robot.
I suppose I could understand that, but they need to explain that better then, if that is the case.
Yeah.
It's only because I want to be more, I guess I want to feel more engaged with his own inner conflict regarding this identity being revealed to Ruriko particularly. He doesn't seem to give a damn that Tachibana knows.
That is the weird thing, is like,
Confidant.
Tachibana, it's just cool that Tachibana knows, but it's Rurikyo specifically who can't find out. And like, if this was still the first like 2 or 3 episodes, or if this was operating under the same rules as those, and we were still operating under the assumption that Rurikyo thinks that Tachibana or the Kamen Rider or whatever murdered her dad, I could see that maybe being a plot motivation. But we've cleared that up at this point. Rurikyo knows full well that A, Shocker killed her father, and that B, whoever the Kamen Rider is, he defeats Shocker. And also that C, you can come talk to Hongo whenever there's a Shocker issue and he'll look into it. The fact that she hasn't put parts B and C together yet in her own mind is interesting enough. But then the fact that like Hongo isn't okay with her, it's a weird motivation. It's not really well explained.
And like, I could even go the route of like the very common superhero, like, oh, he doesn't want her to know because he's afraid of putting someone in danger by, them associating with him, but he doesn't cease to associate with her, and she doesn't cease to be involved in Shocker things.
Yeah.
So
she's fully in danger at all times.
At all times.
All times.
It's very strange. But so from there we will go ahead and move along to our final episode of this watch session, which is good because that means between our break and everything, hopefully this episode won't be too long. It is the
3.5 hours probably.
Well, let's see if we can cut it down a little.
Well,
So it's the Reborn
with our break, it might be less.
Cobra Man. It is Kamen Rider episode 10. It aired June 5th, 1971. Speaking of which, I said the air date for the last episode, right?
Yeah.
Yes, but not
Didn't
the
I?
first one.
Oops.
No, I think it was the first and not the
No.
second.
You did episode 9, but not
I could have sworn I did episode 8. Look, we're just going to do them all again real quickly.
I write them down so
Episode
I know which
8,
ones you
Strangeness
said.
Be Woman, aired May 22nd, 1971. Episode 9, The Monstrous Cobra Man, aired May 29th, 1971. And then The Reborn Cobra Man aired June the 5th, 1971.
There you go.
Now, this one does give us a little synopsis that we can work with. And it also gives us a little fun fact in the little opener as well. So we're going to go through that very quickly. So, The Revived Cobra Man is the 10th episode of the original Kamen Rider series. As noted in the title, it features the return of Cobra Man, who was destroyed by Kamen Rider in the previous episode, marking 2 milestones in the Kamen Rider series. The first instance of a kaijin being revived, and the first instance of a kaijin being improved or remodeled. The synopsis reads, Cobra Man is injected with blood from puppies and is brought back to life to continue Shaka's plan to steal national gold reserves.
That is legit what happens. I did write
Yep.
that down. Cobra Man is made of the blood of puppies.
Right.
Strong start.
Right, sorry, I forgot that's what they were doing with the puppy blood. I'm pretty sure I reacted strongly to it when it was revealed in episode, and just blocked it out of my mind because I was like, that sucks. Everything involving the animals
Yeah,
sucks.
no, that's fair. It's not great.
Yeah, that's what they were.
Shocker not only has a human body count now, but they have a unknown but pretty high animal body count at this point.
They didn't even take these animals. I blame the people who owned them. They have a building, a research facility, and they put out posters that says, "We buy dogs and cats." It is labeled as a research facility. You know what you can plainly assume from there? Your animals are not coming out of there safe and sound. I guarantee
Yeah,
it. You're not getting
seriously.
them back.
Biological research facility at that, too, which is...
Biological research.
It amazes me that they got any animals, but also the fact that they got so
They got a
many.
ton.
They got enough to
There was
rebuild a
line
Cobra
of
Man.
people.
Right?
Like, apparently there were. The only thing I have to wonder is maybe because they referenced this in the episode. I wonder if that wasn't just a line of people who stole someone else's animal for a quick buck.
Maybe.
Yeah, that would be even
more
worse,
horrible,
honestly.
This is also the third appearance of that one puppy.
Yes.
Yep.
From
Yeah, the
part
white
2 of
puppy.
Chameleon Man, and then appeared once again in episode 8 for Takeshi Hongo's puppy
And also
research.
his brother, the brown
he's
puppy,
back
also
again?
makes a cameo appearance.
And also the first appearance of a cat
Yeah,
in the series.
I think so. Lots of animals in this one.
I love Shocker's operation for this because it's a bogus clinic where they collect animal blood to
Rebuild the Cobra Man.
make a Cobra Man. Their process, have people line up one at a time.
Outside.
Invite person in with their dog. Person with dog comes in, hands over the dog to you, and then you fucking brain chop them. Drag their body away. Assume nobody is going to think that's weird that they didn't come back out and invite the next person in.
It's amazing. Welcome
Yeah,
to the
it's-
slaughterhouse.
So I guess they also might have used human blood. I don't know. We never seen those.
Yeah.
They really could have just used
They
human
might have
blood.
just turned them into shocker agents.
Yeah, you're right. They probably shockerification for them.
Well, I said we had to throw it away.
Shockerification.
Fine. We'll keep it, but I'm not happy about it. Yeah, so those people, they definitely felt the shocker. And we feel the wrath of Shocker and what a horrible group they are because they're doing terrible things to animals.
Shocker! You will not get away from me!
I'll follow you to the ends of the earth!
That's the-
Oh,
That's basically Kamen Rider.
yeah,
in a nutshell,
basically.
actually.
Note to self, make that tweet on the podcast Twitter.
Yeah.
I just got to go hunt down that clip. But yes, so Shocker is collecting these animals to try and rebuild the Cobra Man, so that way they can go for Gold Heist 2 Electric Boogaloo. But this time they are going to be stealing not just gold bars but gold bullion from I assumed this was covered in the episode and I missed it, but I guess it was an American ship called the President that is going to be pulling into port within the coming days to accept the shipment of gold bullion.
What do we call our American battleship? I don't know.
The
President.
It'll be fucking invincible!
It's powered by
Yeah,
nanomachines.
I mean, I have...
Played ball in college, you know. All state. Could have gone pro. Oh, God.
You see this image on scrolling? You've been
Sundowner
visiting for the Sundowner of Desperado.
Gold days right after 9/11. Oh, boy.
But yes, the president.
Yeah, so the president is going to visit
full of
Japan
gold.
so he can load up on gold, which, yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. It checks out for America sending boats to
Yep.
Japan.
So Shocker is trying to get the Cobra Man rebuilt for that. Meanwhile, what is the boy's name? I don't think he's listed in the... Toru! Yes, it was Toru, thank you. Toru, who I guess is like... helping?
Our next orphan.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
I guess he's helping out at Shop Amigo? It's...
I thought he was just
Maybe...
hanging because
No, they just found him on the street or something,
because
and
The
Tachibana
conversation with his dad right afterwards makes it clear that they were like watching him for the dad while he's at work, but like,
oh, his dog went missing.
that's not yet, is it?
No,
That's
his dog was already missing.
That's
Yes.
his first
Is
interaction.
it really?
He's asking them about his lost
Yes.
dog.
Oh,
That's why.
Like
he's
I
hanging.
thought the premise was basically that Tachibana and Ruriko were like out and about, and this boy is out just inquiring about
maybe that's
his
what it
missing
is.
dog, and
that,
his
that
father
does
catches.
make more sense.
Yes, and they seem to be very friendly with him, and Ruriko's like, "Oh, I'll buy you a snack." So, like, you know, as the dad would be like, "Oh, thank you for being kind to my son. He's going through a rough time. Thank you for
He also
you
does
know
not
trying
have
to
a
help him
mom.
out."
We get a quick drop about how
Yes.
his mom
His
is
mom
dead
is also
and
dead.
how his dad can't be around because the detective's work is never done. So yes, this boy is missing his dog and is trying to find him, and the last we see of him is him being brought inside to Snack Amigo to get a snack from Ruriko, and then strangely, mysteriously, and without explanation, he is just at the research facility, and he's like,
Yes,
go ahead.
So the Tachibana and Ruriko mentioned that some patron in Snack Amigo at some point had mentioned that there's a research facility that is giving money out for dogs and cats, and there's a potential that somebody took Toru's dog and went to sell it. So Toru was like, hot damn, that's a lead.
Yeah, apparently,
So
like father,
he
like son.
just immediately teleports to the
He uses his
research
law and
facility.
order powers that he inherited from his father. Yeah, and he teleports to the research facility. And I guess his dad like gets a text message every time his son uses a teleportation on his account. So he shows up immediately after and is like, "Hey, what are you doing here?"
In the most sinister,
so-
like up close
It's
shot.
so weirdly sinister.
Right? I was saying this while we were watching it, but I'm like, is this person... Is he gonna be in Shocker? Because, like, he's framed just ever so slightly at an angle, so you're looking a little upward at him, and, like, the lighting's a little intense. It's
Yeah.
just-
Nope.
No.
Buried that lead
Yes.
immediately. So yeah, his dad shows up and is like, "Here, I'll take care of this trying to find your dog thing. You go home and be a good boy." And then, as far as plays
God.
go, I cannot explain how incredibly much this ain't it, Chief.
It was amazing.
My dude knocks on the door, real casual like. The strange woman proprietor who is a Shocker agent who is trying to rebuild the Cobra Man, answers the door and is like, yeah, what do you want? And he goes, hey, how's it going? I'm a cop. Can I come in to investigate the claims that you guys are stealing animal blood? And she's like, oh, please, come right in.
Take a seat in the psycho room full of dead animals.
Take a seat in the taxidermy room next to the monkey. The master will be with you presently. And she slinks out of the room.
She really does. Slink
And then he
out.
gets
Yep.
chopped. Just straight up a Shocker dude just goes like, yeah, what's up? What's up?
Yeah, as soon as he's
Big
beginning
surprise.
to get an epiphany about, hey, these guys are definitely stealing animal blood, he gets the chop.
What were you
I-
thinking,
it's
sir? He just comes in, it's like, hi, I legally
Or
have
it's
to tell you I'm a
entrapment.
cop while I'm by myself. Would you let me in?
But also, I didn't bring backup.
I didn't bring backup.
Or a
I didn't bring
partner.
weapons. I'm not even on my guard.
It'd be one thing if he was just like a regular beat cop or a patrolman or something, but he's a detective.
Right?
Detective this. Cha!
Yeah, I mean, sir, you would think he would know better.
Apparently not. He's got to learn from these mistakes, and boy howdy does he
learned some
learn.
shit.
And
Oh.
as he gets a nat 1 on his perception rolls
Yeah,
and
really.
insight,
Just
I'd
not.
like to point out just how far the chops have come from episode 1 and episode 2 and 3. Just we used to have Ruko with the vase just gently tapping, but now we have a Shocker goon just actually chopping this guy's
Yeah,
neck.
we're
I'm
learning how to do our
that's
scene
that's
combat a little
really
better.
Nice improvement. Yeah, it's
just
really
fucking
it's really nice thing.
embarrassing. A single mook.
Really,
It's very good lord, is it something? So this guy, as you would expect after getting chopped, gets kidnapped by Shocker, where he's going to be made a test subject for the reborn Cobra Man and his new powers. And what are the reborn Cobra Man's new powers? Well, my friend, he's much like Dylon in that he spit hot fire. And this is, it's shown in an example.
You mean Dalsum?
Well, no, I was doing the Chappelle Show bit.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
That guy.
who are the top 5 best rappers in the game today? Dylon, and Dylon, because I spit hot fire. So yeah, much like Dylon, the Cobra Man spits hot fire now, which we see when he just immolates some dude.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they have two guys tied to a pole. The detective
And
who just
fucking
got captured,
Dick Bubkiss.
and some guy. I think it was the guy we saw going earlier with
Maybe?
the first
He
puppy.
might have.
I think. And they're blindfolded with these lovely little satin
Yep.
sleep eye covers. I love it.
And I think it is worth noting that the Cobra Man actually looks like a cobra
Yes,
this time around.
they've got him a
Yes.
neck frill and everything.
No more
Yeah.
fish-looking friend.
Little fanning out.
Actually, I should say
headdress.
friend. No more fish-looking dude.
Yeah, he's definitely not our friend.
He
No,
still
he's a
has his
racist
snake
nuts.
arm, but it seems less functional. Like they just kind of put it all in on him having.
You know, I mean, that's fair. Considering what happened last time and everything, I also would have been
Yeah.
like, look, if we're going to have to rebuild your ass, no more snake arm shenanigans. Just fucking
they
breathe
just
fire.
kind of made it. They made a new robot, but they had this old body.
And we still got the
It's like,
skin,
fuck
so
it.
just slip it on.
We were gonna, make a phoenix, but that's a little too high budget for us at the moment. So here,
Not to
take
mention
this.
the design department's not
We need to
quite
stick
there
the
yet.
gold
Yeah.
First.
Yeah, exactly.
So then Cobra, following the storyline of Cobra Man being a fucking dork, Cobra Man is like, and now I'm gonna burn you. Well, he gets ordered to burn him too by the Shocker woman, and
Yeah.
he misses. Twice, yeah.
Twice.
Annihilates this dude's arm and leg, gotta say. Like, 3rd-degree burns for sure. It's pretty
gruesome.
It is really gruesome.
It's
some
surprising.
very solid makeup and costume work, because it looks bad.
Yeah. Burned to
Considering,
shit.
like, the last person he burned just literally disappears, and then they just 3rd-degree burn this guy? I'm like, that's not expected.
Limited fuel, maybe.
it's sputtering. It's one of my aim's off.
Yeah, so
But yeah, Cobra Man's a Dorcas, and he has this lady just like whipping his ass, literally whipping his ass.
she literally starts beating him because he sucks so bad. I feel like that's at a later scene, but the point is it happens. Cobra Man's such a fucking doofus.
That was the first time she did whip him, yes.
Oh yeah,
Like,
right here.
Just before Kamen Rider arrives on scene, like, he misses the second time, and she's like, "You
I mean, I would be too, shit. So yes,
We're at target practice. Learn to aim.
yeah, you gotta break the targets. So Kamen Rider shows up, and we have ourselves a little fight scene with the new and improved Spitz Hot Fire, Cobra Man. I don't think the Shocker Woman is in this fight scene at all, right? No, she is.
She's
a little-
here, but-
there's a very
Yeah.
Yep, I
important
just
thing.
remembered there's a very important thing that has to happen to her in this fight scene. So we get a fight scene between Cobra Man, Kamen Rider, and some Shocker grunts. I can't think of too many real standout moments from this fight, but we do have two people scrubbing the footage, so.
I'm looking at it now, and it's like, compared to what... Ooh, there actually is a nice scene. There's a scene where we have the woman centered in the frame in the foreground, and then Kamen Rider and the Snake Man, or Kamen Rider like jumps over the Snake Man as the Snake Man rolls under him. It's a very nice scene.
Also before that, we have Takeshi, not suited up yet. Takeshi does have to fight through several mooks on his way to the battlefield, to which he jumps on. I don't know what the hell this is. It's a post with a wire, and he Tarzan.
Oh
the shit
yes,
out of, like, three
yeah, the
dudes.
Tarzan kick.
It's like a tether ball holding like a ball.
It might as well be what it is.
Also, a guy just throws his entire being off of that hill during that scene that
And
the
Hongo
Mooks does, and it's a very
like,
impressive
oh
show.
god, it's like watching an indie
yeah, look at
wrestling
that.
show where someone's gonna do a spot where they dodge someone going for like a spear or something off of the ropes. Like, he ducks so early,
Yes.
and that guy just like dives over him. It's a great little bit. But the most important bit of this fight is obviously Cobra Man is trying to fire breathe Kamen Rider, and Kamen Rider's fight tactics are not unlike those of a rabbit's, as we have mentioned from previous fight scenes. So he's just jumping all over the goddamn place. And so the Cobra Man ends up accidentally turning his fire breath onto the Shocker Lady. And she is, as you can imagine, none too thrilled about that, which does lead us to another scene later on. But is that the end of the fight? I don't think it is.
I think they retreat.
Maybe they
after
do.
that.
No, then Tachibana... Yeah, they retreat,
Yes.
and then Tachibana comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Because Tachibana's
Just-
always there.
He sprints a whole like 30 feet to the detective
Yes.
who is tied up,
Mhm.
and he shakes him violently awake, and he tries to carry him to safety. And Kamen Rider is officially finished with the fight because they've retreated now, and he goes to approach them. This detective is all the while just trying to keep pursuing
Yes, that's right. He wants
Cobra
to keep...
Man and
Right?
the woman.
Ugh.
Yes, and
This just made me think of something very
Take it-
strange about the scene that's going to come up, but please continue.
Detective Balls is
Tachi-
still over here.
Tachibana tries to dissuade him because obviously he's crazy injured. His arm and leg are like, burnt to a
Yeah.
well done crisp. And Kamen Rider approaches them because the fight is over, and the detective looks up and he says,
Yep.
"Monster!" and he faints.
Which I mean, fair. If I had been assaulted, tied up, blindfolded,
Pushed down.
yeah, pushed down,
Snake
hogtied into some snake wire, right? Assaulted, blindfolded, tied to a post, burnt the shit out of, and then I see a karate bug man. I'm done. That's my limit for the day. I'm out.
Yeah.
That's what makes you a coward. Anyway.
Damn.
That was
Be going
immediate.
right
Ah,
for the
God,
jugular.
my life. Ah,
Rip
God,
to you,
ow,
but I'm
that
different.
weave was
I
you,
believe it.
B. Damn. Shit was expensive, too.
Snatch.
Listen, this is less about you and more about me, okay? You're a very
I'm
reasonable person.
fucking not. I would have been like, I'll fight the bug man,
understand.
too. I don't give a shit. Let's go.
I understand, B, that you would much rather have a fight to the death on a oil tanker in the middle of the ocean with this bug man than do anything reasonable. And
Bug
that's
man!
realistic.
I'm so very glad that you understand me, Gopher. Thank you.
I can't wait for B to punch Takeshi Hongo in his cyborg ear, and then he'll just smile at her.
It is. That will break quite possibly every bone in my
It'll be
hand.
worth it.
But it'll be
Probably.
worth it.
For the drama, the passion.
They have their priorities, and Bones' health,
Not one of them.
Nope.
Bones? Yeah, anyhow, so we get to, I believe the very next scene is at the Cobra Man Shocker base, where
Yes.
Shocker Woman is just beating the crap out of Cobra Man. I mean, it's almost a little
Yeah.
sad to watch, because he's being abused.
It would be if they weren't Nazis.
Yeah, you lose the sympathy once you remember the Nazis, but before then, you're just like, oh, damn, I'm sorry that she's like this. I'm sorry that your mom is like this, Cobra Man. Yeah,
Tearing
really.
this family
I mean, she
apart.
really, she's
But then,
very like an abusive mom to him. It's kind of weird. But,
I don't know why she was so into making this Cobra Man happen, but apparently her usefulness
yeah,
is at an end.
our good friend
then she
Fascist
burns.
Statue says that her usefulness is at an end. And I think, does he just burn the he does. Oh,
Yeah.
shit. I
Yeah.
just remembered the effect.
Yeah, this one was my favorite.
Yeah, this
my
one
favorite
ruled.
death effect of the batch.
Oh,
Yes.
pepperoni. You can cut that one outwards. But yes, so for whatever reason, Shocker Woman has outlived her usefulness now that Cobra Man is back, which, what the shit? One of them rebuilt the Cobra Man, and the other one is the Cobra Man. I don't think you understand exactly how the hierarchy of needs goes. But, yeah, she gets absolutely immolated by the Cobra Man, and the effect that they use to do that is 10 out of 10. Like, what a great effect for that. Shakes, I imagine you have the footage in front of you if you want to, like, try and describe it.
Yes. It it is a little pile of ash with a scrap of her red scarf in it that gets immediately blown away by some off-screen wind.
Yep. It's great.
Oh,
Beautiful. Look at those little Oreo crumbles.
Right.
Just
God, that's not... Yeah, like, that's exactly what they look like. But yeah, it's... I mean, another... Just more of the great effects work from this show. And then we get to the part that I just realized is really weird. So we are back at Snack Amigo with we are with Tachibana, we are with Takeshi, and now we have the detective there as well. No, the detective is not already there. The detective arrives. Yes? Or am I...
no, detective.
yes, it starts.
Is
Detective,
at the
yeah.
gold place.
Yes. No.
Detective's nearing the
Yes.
president.
So the detective is at the gold place. He is getting ready to prepare the president, or he's preparing the gold bullion movement for the president. And
with his stick.
Yeah, he with his. It's not a cane; it's just a stick.
He couldn't afford it.
It's not even a straight stick. It's a very curved stick, and he's using it as
I will say this:
walking
I understand it by merit of that. I've seen sticks like that used as like impromptu canes in Japanese media before. The part about it I don't understand is where he could afford to get bandaged up, but he couldn't get an actual cane.
If you look at it closely as well, it does bend under the weight that he's putting it under. So it's
exactly.
It's not like a dead wood at all. It's certainly still alive a little bit, has some give.
He just left the hospital and was like, "Oh crud, I forgot to ask for it. It doesn't matter." And he looks at the nearest tree outside, just right over the bench,
snaps it off
leading
himself.
into the hospital, and he just...
It kind of matches with his energy that he's presented for the rest of the episode so far, because he's kind of presented this very like act first, think later kind of persona, and he's very gung-ho about making sure he does his job. So I kind of wouldn't be surprised if maybe it was something like that.
Like, absurdly gung-ho. There's no need for this man on this mission. He is useless to any cause.
It's not. It'd be one thing if he was like the chief of police or something, or like senior management, but he's just some detective.
And he doesn't really have any legitimate intel to add to this scenario, so it's not like he can even be here as any sort of consultant or insider. He saw no one except the woman who answered the door. He doesn't know anything about her identity. He still doesn't technically know what their goals are. He was knocked out, he was blindfolded, he was injured, and that's the extent of it.
But here's the thing I don't understand that I was alluding to previously. So Hongo shows up when he finds out that they're still going to do the gold bullion shipment, and he's like, "You can't do the shipment because Shocker is after this gold." And the detective is like, "There's no such thing as Shocker. What are you talking about?" But his ears weren't covered. They must have mentioned Shocker at least once when they were just talking, and Kamen Rider definitely mentions Shocker. So what the fuck? Like, he should... Like, why wasn't the first thing he did when he got out of the hospital go to the rest of the police and be like, "Yo, there's this group called Shocker, and they have, like, a flamethrower or something. I don't know. They kept talking about the Cobra Man. Anyway, like, we might want to get on that."
Also, Takeshi Hongo, completely reluctant to reveal what Shocker is and what information he has on it. Like, it apparently has never crossed his mind, or he crossed his mind and didn't think it was worth it to report a literal terrorist group to the local government.
And then
they've heard nothing.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, go ahead.
It's just wild. Like, you're all exactly right. He's never said anything, and we know this has been at least the span of a few months. Given at least what happened in episode 8? ? So he's just been doing this for quite a while, and he hasn't informed anybody. And not only that, but somehow they're getting away with it, even regardless of Takeshi, not himself, reporting anything, because every single episode features people who have encountered Shocker and survived.
Yeah.
And some of these people, like, repeatedly so, like Tachibana and Duriko's friend, whom I always forget the name of. Shiro. All the various children that Takeshi helps. Not a single one of any of these people has reported Shocker. And I cannot but wonder, is this just a convenience thing, so we always have Takeshi Hongo being the one who fights Shocker, and we don't have to really think anything more complicated than that? Or does it go really deep? Is it a big government conspiracy, and everyone who reports them gets,
like Shocker's
erased,
infiltrated the government
all the evidence
or something.
taken out, cleaned up?
Oh god, I hope I hope that's...
Or the government's trying to quietly dispose of Shocker, and everyone must be kept in the dark.
Absolutely need to know basis. Like,
Oh,
there's,
God.
it's possible something's
I
going
really-
on.
I really hope that's the
I
case.
would love for it to be that, if only because I am almost positive that it's not.
Yeah.
It would be funny because I agree. I don't expect it to be
like
that.
otherwise it doesn't make any sense that like not only has Hongo never mentioned it before, he gets an opportunity to explain the situation and just flat out refuses to. None of the survivors haven't mentioned anything. No one who has potentially seen anything has mentioned anything about Shocker, which, look, I understand for most of the stuff that Shocker is in pretty remote places, so I recognize there might not be too many passerbys looking, but at the very least, one, we get the passerbys from the construction site from episode 6, and B, maybe if there weren't passerbys seeing Shocker, there are definitely passerbys seeing Kamen Rider. No one's reported a cyborg bug man running around beating up dudes in like weird suits with face paint?
You would?
Apparently not.
Like, some of these people have absolutely been in very public areas. Like, heck, even harking back to Chameleon Man specifically, there was that Chameleon Man. I'm sorry, I'm trying to remember. I think it was Chameleon Man when Hongo
Yes,
and
that was
Ruriko
Chameleon
were put
Man.
on the tracks.
Yes.
Broad daylight, in a car,
Mm-hmm.
in public. Just Chameleon Man
Yeah.
and a couple of his
Like,
goons. And no one
Or
saw that?
people saw it and no one
Train shooting
reported it.
stopped.
People know how to mind
You
their
know
own
what? Yeah,
business.
it's that
Yeah.
Yu Yu
Lane.
Hakusho clip all over again. Well, that guy's got horns.
Not gonna ruin
Not
my
gonna
day.
ruin my day. Yeah, so Hongo tries to explain to the cops that they can't move the bullion because of Shocker, and they don't believe him, and he doesn't try to elaborate, and instead is like, I have to be the one to beat Shocker alone. It has to be me. Which, I mean, I guess it's... Alright, so I will say at least minor spoilers just from like looking into stuff and looking at fun facts and stuff. I know that we are going to be getting the existence of V2 soon. So I assume that is setting
Oh.
up for that. You know, because we're about to get the existence of a second Kamen Rider very shortly after our initial Kamen Rider saying that he had to do this all by himself. Even though he's already not because Tachibana, but I digress.
I want
Yeah,
Tachibana
that
to
dude's
be
always there.
And we've already determined that he can throw hands.
Yeah.
It's true.
Now imagine giving him cyborg
Exactly.
powers.
I want Tachibana to be a genetic freak. I want him to not be normal.
That's when Kamen Rider or Hongo would look at him, be like, "You're way too strong and perfect."
Yeah. He would be the Himbo Supreme.
Oh,
He'd be an actual Himbo
Okay.
Supreme too, because he wouldn't have a 600 IQ.
he'd be an actual himbo.
He's just a
guy.
dude. He's just an awesome dude. He'd just roll up in the hoopty, take off his glasses, be like, yo, love that guy. Anyway.
Yo,
Yo.
And
yo.
Meanwhile,
yeah,
at the boat.
meanwhile, at the president. So Hongo drives off and is like, I have to stop Shocker, but I don't know where, when, or how they'll attack. Even, I guess he never heard their plan regarding... No, because even if he didn't hear their plan, he knew it well enough to know to stop the gold bullion shipment. He knew where it was going. It said so in the newspaper. Why didn't he just...
So he does sort of fall after reviewing this
Okay.
one more time. He does sort of follow through with that, but everything on the boat is allowed to happen before he properly engages.
Cool, man. Hongo, you're kind of
So we
you're
can
kind of
cover that
fucking up a
first.
little bit, but we love you anyway.
Oh.
So the police are moving the bullion to the president, and they get to the bullion to the docks, no problem. They're getting ready to load it.
They're
Yes,
in the
they
ship.
opened up the ship, and as they're in the ship, and they open up the door only to see that the vault inside has already been melted open, At which point one of our American ship members goes,
The white man.
"Hey, that's open."
The white man.
He goes, "Wow, that's broken."
Oh yeah, that's right. Wow, that's broken.
in English.
And then from
Wow, that's
inside
broken.
the vault steps out the Cobra Man, who begins.
To which another dude immediately unloads
Yes.
his pistol within a
The
second.
smartest man on the planet. He, for a reason, keeps that motherfucking thing on him, cause he unloads on the Cobra Man. But it of course doesn't matter because cyborgs have bulletproof skin or whatever.
Yeah.
I think that dude gets burned.
Yeah, he just gets burned
I
alive.
think, yeah,
And-
he just
I mean,
burns them.
it's
And the
Yeah.
next scene is the goons on the ship just running after the captain, and then it explodes.
And then the
and then
entire
the
ship just
boat
blows the fuck up.
it blows
Blows up.
up.
It's just, I love the sense of scale that is not given
Right?
in this mini. Because if you look at it, like the flames, they look big, you know.
Yeah.
And then you look at the water, and you can see individual bubbles. I'm just like, what?
It's an astounding
Yeah, well,
effect.
How did
I
they
mean,
do
it's,
that?
it's the same way they did Godzilla. Essentially, it was they took a toy boat
I
and they put
guess.
it in the water and they blew it the fuck up, and so it looks awesome.
It's just impressive that they made the explosion
Yeah.
so big.
Yeah. The explosion
They
is
loaded that
building,
thing
like,
up.
literally. I don't understand.
But it's just such a
Impressive.
wild. Like, we are not exaggerating with how quickly these events happen after each other. You
Yeah.
I will-
It's
you
such
do
a
not
rapid
get
Literal
time to
seconds.
process.
like
I will
it
count-
is like
I will
8
count in
seconds
seconds.
from him saying, "Wow, it's broken." That's
One.
my estimate.
There's like maybe 15 seconds from when Koga arrives and is like, "Welp, looks fine," and then immediately leaves, to when the boat explodes right in front of him. It is
Good.
amazing.
Wow, that's broken goes in at about 20 minutes exactly.
Yeah,
So I'm
tw-
counting
twen-
down
yep.
to the
20
20
seconds.
seconds from wow, that's
20
broken
seconds.
boat explosion. Holy shit! Talk about an escalation.
Yeah, like, exactly. Boom, boom. God, yeah, it's insane how fast that scene goes, and we're on to the
Mhm.
next one, baby.
And then you're just carrying the
Yeah.
gold.
So
The
Yeah, so
Kamen
I guess
Rider is
they-
there. He's like,
guess
I'm
they
a
fucked off
punch.
to a cove? The
Yeah.
secret cove where they can store their gold.
the shocker
The
pirate
Shaka
cave.
Cove.
It's where they're gonna.
Yeah,
It's where they're
kinda.
gonna film the opening of Shocker Treasure Island.
It's where Ghost Hitler
Shiver
hangs
my
out still.
timbers, shiver my soul, yo ho heave ho. So yes, they are shipping the
Oh.
gold bullion off to the Shocker Cove. But I guess who's been tailing them the whole time? Well, I'll tell you who it is. It's the Kamen Rider.
Allowing the deaths. Of
God only
who knows how many people on that
how
boat.
many
Well,
Japanese
see-
police, but also how many American naval officers.
See, I believe I've deduced the reason. As we've stated in the beginning of this episode, Kamen Rider has a 4-kill lead. If he gains too much of a lead, it'll look like he's bullying Shocker.
He's gotta.
So he clearly has to make some sacrifices so he can continue on his
He
rampage.
can't murder too many
gotta
people, or
let him
his
get
dark
some
side meter will go too high, and he'll get on a different route.
Exactly. So he needs to pace it out a little bit.
Oh god. So yes, he tails them to the Hitler Cove, and we begin our big fight sequence for the episode in another great location.
Yeah, no, this is a fun little cove with
Yeah.
like little
Yeah,
bridges and
it's
It's actually
very
really
solid.
good.
We get some nice stunts with some pools that we have in the area as well. It's just a good sequence. Again, I will let my video scrubbers go ahead and point out any real standout choreography for us.
I don't know if this is
the thing I want
go
to
ahead.
point. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
The thing I was going to say, the thing I want to point out comes a little later and is not necessarily choreography. So I will
Okay.
wait to.
Oh, yeah, this is the one where he does the indie spot of the guy of him giving the biggest head start for him. To
Oh,
be leaped
yes, you're right. Yeah,
into
this is the
Yeah.
one.
water.
Yeah, because he jumps into the water.
And then we get Kamen Rider Water Fighter.
And right
Heck
after
yeah.
that, I love it. There's like a reverse jump in the water because, like, he just jumps out of the water, but you can see it's just like a reverse thing of him jumping backwards into the pond.
Yeah.
I mean, they
very
use
good.
that technology quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I just appreciate it
Yeah.
coming back. You know.
It's very good, and honestly, to compare it with Goranger again, they get wet a lot in that show, so I didn't know if that was just like a staple, and it's interesting to see this is the very first instance of Kamen Rider himself actually
Jumping
just
into the water
jumping
to-
into water. I had always kind of assumed that it was a thing that they wouldn't overuse too much, especially
Yeah.
earlier on in shows.
Yeah, I
just
was gonna
out of
say
fear
those
of
suits
damaging
probably aren't cheap.
suits.
I mean, they're
And like Kamen Riders looks like it
Mhm.
might be made out of leather, maybe. So
He's got leather.
like
boots.
the Goranger suits
Cloth,
are
for
definitely
sure.
made out of cloth. So yes, but I imagine it's a lot trickier.
I
getting
will
this
say,
suit
because I
wet.
was just thinking about the scene where he jumps into the water and he starts fighting the Shocker Goon, and something I feel like we don't really touch on in any of these fight scenes because we kind of just gloss over them. Because admittedly, unless there's like a specific spot, there's not a lot to talk about. It's a fight scene, but Kamen Rider is brutal. This dude is a savage.
The
I mean, he
repeated
like literally he will just like grab a dude by the collar and just like wail on them 3-4 times, just right
Yeah.
to the face.
His fist
Bam,
went to
boom,
town
bam,
on that man's
bam.
face.
Heavy chops to the top of the head. Like he doesn't give a shit.
Like, people, like, he'll grab a dude, hit him once, that dude's out, and he will hit him 2
Yeah.
extra times.
Ju-
Just
yeah,
to make
or
sure.
or the many scenes of him grabbing a guy, punching them, and then like tossing them.
Yeah.
Get out
there's
of my
there's
way.
another one. I'm just scrubbing through it again, and there's another one where he grabs the person's fist as he's going in for a punch. And he follows that up with a punch of his own right to the chest, and then he just kicks him in the jaw. And I'm just like,
Yeah,
"Wow."
Kamen Rider does not
He
fuck around.
backflips into.
Killing machine.
I love it. I love how completely like unreasonably brutal he
Yeah,
is
it's I
sometimes.
just because I was kind of reminded about it when I briefly listened to the previous episode, but just thinking about it compared to some of the modern stuff, you know, the modern stuff has all of this nice, fancy, flourishing kind of cool fight choreography, and depending on the fight, of course, obviously, you know, when they have times where they want it to, they will definitely exemplify some of that brutality, but you don't see it nearly as much as you do in this Kamen Rider, because it's every episode that Kamen Rider is just beating the shit out of people.
I
Yeah,
That is just Takeshi Hongo.
Yeah,
that is just
Takeshi
who he
Hongo
is.
Kicks ass and
goes
does not
in and
stop.
stays in.
I really want a Takeshi Hongo skin for Doomslayer and Big
God.
Maternal.
That would be so good.
Ooh.
It would be so.
It'd be great if it existed.
You've got big fascist guts.
Yeah.
Rip a chair.
So getting a little further into the fight, just before Kamen Rider gets into the big confrontation with Cobra Man V2 after disposing of the mooks, he does something I don't understand, but I'm kind of into, and he says,
Oh yes,
Rider,
right
fight!
off, fight!
Yeah.
Right up, fight!
like, he goes into a stance and just, like, I guess announces that they are to
You know
throw
what it is?
down now.
It's a fucking. It's
A
a
little
spell. It's like challenge in D&D. Now you have to fight Kamen Rider and no one else. That's him summoning the pit.
I'd like to also think it gives him
Yeah.
stat buffs.
Like,
His power up.
the Cobra Man also tries to suplex him, but he just does double backflip or double front flip out of it.
Yeah.
It's just so good.
So good.
He a mid-air reversal of the suplex, chucking Cobra Man into the sea, in which he instantly explodes like a death
Yes,
torch.
it's so good.
Actual footage of like an underwater explosion happening for a single
I want to. Can I get the timestamp for when he says Rider fight real quick? Just because I want to confirm something that I remember seeing myself when I first saw that.
It's 21:47.
21:47.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay.
There's also the scene where he just they grab each other and they just both launch each other into the air, and then
He gives him the rider
Yep.
throw.
Yeah, that gives him the rider throw into the ocean and the underwater explosion. Which, oh my goodness.
I mean, it's a lot of good stuff here.
I forgot about the hard cut.
Yes. Are we done with the
Oh,
fight?
hold on.
Can we talk about it now?
I'm getting to 21:47 right now, just because I want to. Yep. Yeah. Suplex
Okay.
reversal double flip. Nice high angle shot, also, by the way. Okay. Yeah. So the rider fight
Extremely
pose
good.
is, and I'm gonna go look this up just to make sure. Rider. But if I recall, it is very reminiscent to the... If it's not reminiscent to the pose that Black uses to transform, then it's super reminiscent of the pose that Black RX uses to transform. So I'm thinking maybe that's an homage of some kind. Let's see if I
Aw.
put Kamen Rider Black Henshin.
Fun.
Let me... Yeah, the knuckles! Fuck yeah, it's like the same pose. Hold on. I gotta... There we go. Yeah. So this is kind of an... I'll see if I can get a good, like, wide shot of him while he's still in human form doing it. But yeah, Kamen Rider Black...
that's really good.
It's like...
Yeah,
it's
pretty
the
much.
fight. It's the Rider fight pose. Yeah! Yes!
Yes.
Oh, fucking...
Shit.
oh, God. The first time I saw this was watching Decade, and I was just like, fuck yeah. Look at that shit.
Ooh,
Fucking
Fashion,
flex into
too.
it.
it's powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah, my man, look at slaying in the jeans, too.
I'm sorry for all the audio people. We were just looking at a man in some beautiful jeans and a beautiful jacket doing
I
a
want
Kamen
that
Rider
jacket.
pose.
Can I buy
Dude,
that jacket?
RX's style, or fucking Black style rules so hard.
Let me Google it real quick.
Oh. But we
got an episode to finish. I apologize. It's just,
All
yeah.
right, are we?
Probably a very cool homage to, OG Kamen Rider having Black's Henshin be the Rider fight pose, and I think that's very cool.
So the Cobra Man
Yeah.
is defeated. He explodes. He is done. Kamen Rider stands victorious. Hard cut.
Yeah, hard cut. We're back at Snack Amigo.
Who wants to do
Hard
the honors?
I'm talking hard cut into a jumping pink.
Oh,
bird
yeah.
toy.
Honko's just delighted
He's like,
by
look,
this thing
another
too.
cyborg, my friend.
And the puppy again!
Yes,
And
Yes, the dark
from
puppy
episode
from
7. Yeah,
Chameleon Part 2
he is
it
Toru's
has
pet
returned.
dog.
So I guess some of the puppies. Yes, so I assume some of the animals did make it out since that
Yeah.
one was explicitly there.
Yeah, I
lined
guess.
up.
Yeah, I guess they kind of answered that question for us before they posed it, and we just didn't think about it because 70s and limited props, especially when those props are living animals.
Yes.
But yeah, so Toru is celebrating that he got his dog back, and everyone is happy for him. And his dad, Detective Kodo, comes back in, and is he's being congratulated by Tachibana and some of the others because he's been given a commendation for his brave service after the situation, let's call it, at the president.
Still
Yeah,
got a
still
stick.
beat to shit.
Same
He
stick.
he still looks like a fucking comedy jobber, just completely destroyed.
I can't get over how delighted Hongo is about
The bird
this the bird, because
He loves
Yeah,
it.
he really is just enamored by that thing.
The bird toy is my friend.
I think my favorite shot of it is that, like, he is fully locked eyes with it as he takes a sip of his tea.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just
It's so good.
Beautiful.
So essentially, the episode wraps up with
I believe it's Koda.
Koga. Wow, I keep forgetting his
It's
name.
Koga.
Regardless, I'm sorry. The detective arrives and sits down along with his son and the dog, etc. And he's basically talking about the commendation and saying, like, he doesn't know what happened. He doesn't know who got the bullion off the boat. And Hongo's like, I thought you did.
This is a great line, because he goes, "Are you crazy? I got knocked out during the explosion."
Yes, and then Hongo's like, well, let's just tell everyone it was me. And then the detective's like, oh, you silly, there's no way you could have done something like that. And then he's like, I wonder who it could have been, though.
Zoom in, another hard cut to him on a motorcycle.
Yep.
Still holding, like, he was still holding the pink toy. Hard cut to motorcycle. It's like, Takeshi Hongo saved Japan from Shocker's evil once again.
Will he
ever be a normal human again?
We almost forgot to mention it in this episode. He's a cyborg freak.
The end.
Yanks.
The end.
We had to put in just a little bit
A
of
little
angst.
bit, yeah. Just the angst, it drippeth.
Just a little
I mean, wow.
bit. It drippeth.
The angst droplets. But yes, so that is episode 10. All in all, a pretty good batch of episodes. Lots of fun with special effects, a lot of great choreography. As we start going ahead and getting into the off ramp of the episode, I will just leave us with a fun fact. A little note from the Kamen Rider Wiki. Our guest actor, Koen Okamura, who is the person who plays Detective Koga, also later plays Ryunosuke Sugishita? Yeah. Ryunosuke Sugishita in Bakuryu Sentai Aba Ranger, better known in America as Power Rangers Dino Thunder. Yeah. Apparently, he also has a couple of other cameos in other Kamen Rider series as well. So, of course, he plays Detective Koba in episode 10 of Kamen Rider. It is also mentioned on the Kamen Rider Wiki that he shows up again as a driver in episode 13 of Kamen Rider V3, and the voice and human form of a person named Byaki in episode 20 of Kamen Rider Black RX. So,
Wow.
getting them Kamen Rider dollars. But, I don't know, what were people's thoughts of these episodes as we go ahead and kind of start to wrap things up?
You know, I think the antagonists were weaker this time around.
Yeah.
But there's always just so much to talk about, and it's always just a joy to unpack the nonsense shenanigans that is this show. So the new ways that they, figured out what they wanted to do with it has just been very refreshing, and it made up for it easy.
Yeah, I'm definitely inclined to agree with you there. I would say these are definitely a weaker set of villains. I mean, I personally enjoyed. He wasn't a good villain, but I did enjoy Cobra Man.
I enjoyed Cobra Man a lot, but it doesn't mean he's good.
Not at all. But yeah, it's just, we talked about it briefly, but kind of seeing them continually go up that ramp of like effects budget and also choreography as well. It makes me very excited as we continue to go forward with these episodes. Speaking of going forward, next time, I will just say, next episode, we are going to be tackling another 3 episodes 11, 12, and 13, which are Blood-Sucking Monster Gebakondor, Murder Yamogelos, and Tokugaron and the Big Monster Army. So, look forward to that.
Extremely
very
promising.
very promising names. I will say, admittedly, it is hard for me to be excited about those episodes, as great as they sound, because I know the next batch of episodes immediately following is Raid of Demon Sabotergon, Counterattack Sabotergon, and then Wrestler of the Devil Pyrosaurus and Deathmatch in the Ring defeat Pyrosaurus. Yeah, double dose, double feature, back to back.
And then after that, we have fire-breathing caterpillar.
Oh shit, yeah, fire-breathing caterpillar monster Dokugonder. Oh, that's another 2-parter as well, because then there's Dokugonder Confrontation at Osaka Castle, which just sounds like a Godzilla movie. Yeah, so we've got some shit to look forward to, and we hope that you are looking forward to it as well.
In the far future.
But thank you very much for joining us. Hopefully it wasn't too long this time. We tried to trim it down. It's a bit long, but
got bad news for you.
Hey, look, we're trying. We're doing our best, and we're doing our best without a synopsis. So, cut us some slack. But if you do want to cut us some slack, you can message us on the Twitter. You can use the YouTube comments, the SoundCloud comments. As always, the Twitter will have a tweet that has all of our private Twitters, and of course, you know where to find those as well. I'm going to also be making a point in the future to make sure that the most recent episode is linked on the pinned tweet. So whenever you want to see our most recent episode up, you can check that out. I know we haven't confirmed anything yet, but we are currently in talks about setting up a Patreon. So if you are interested in supporting us and supporting this project, if you like what you've been hearing so far, and we've given you some hours of entertainment, consider supporting on that Patreon when we get it set up. We will of course keep everyone up to date on that on the Twitter, so follow that if you want to get more updates. To that end, we are also still currently working on a website as well. We will of course keep you up to date in regards to updates for that as well. So of course keep your eyes on the Twitter if you ever want to know what we are doing. But with that being said, I think we're just about ready to wrap it up, unless anyone else has any closing thoughts or statements.
This is not much of a closing statement, but it does seem like there are Kamen Rider hoodies.
Yeah, I almost immediately after we started doing the show, Facebook started showing me advertisements like, "Oh, you like Kamen Rider, huh? We got these hoodies that look like the rider suits, and they've got matching pajama bottoms that are the pants." And I was like, "You can't fucking tempt me with those. I know they don't come in my size." One of you has to buy them and live vicariously through me, if they're real.
I'm gonna be doing research.
Yeah, please do.
I'll look into it.
And I might just
I look forward to it.
A new set of pajamas.
I want to grab that kick.
Yeah, for sure.
Shirt.
Yeah.
Well.
And of course.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to lead you to your thing.
As always, thank you very much for joining us. We hope that you enjoyed yourselves, and remember, if you can't believe in God and you can't believe in Buddha, you can always believe in Kamen Rider.